Welcome to San Miguel TV. I am San Miguel, and it is Sunday, April 18th. I am here with Killah, the Witchfinder General. Welcome, sir. How you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, man. So I've been watching your channel for years. For those that don't know, this brother has a very unique channel. I love, going and just how they call it when you just go back to the old videos and binge watch. There you go. Sometimes I do that with some of your videos, but I got to keep up with more of your videos because you stay pretty constant, but so everybody understands who you are. I'm gonna let you just introduce yourself, brother, so go ahead. It's yours.
So I'm Killah, the Witchfinder General. I'm an ex-member of the Hebrew Israelites. When I was in the Hebrew Israelites, Hebrew name was Gad. I spent 22 years, I wasted 22 years of my life in the cult. So after I left, I decided to spend some time warning other people about the dangers of the cult. There's a lot of people that left the cult and didn't warn the people, or you know what I mean? Like, so when I left, all the people that I called brother and sister, I still consider them people friends. So I wanted to open their eyes to what was going on. And I brought many people out of the cult. There's a lot of people that I still was friends with and considered brothers and stuff that are still in it. So I just wanted to be a little different than a lot of people that find out the whole cult thing. It was a cult basically, and a lot of the stuff was false, and just left and went out and continued on with their lives without warning the people that they once called brother and sister. So
definitely, that's something I wanna actually highlight on. Sorry to cut you off, but because that's pretty much the same way that I went, bro. Same way that I went. But what does my God mean? What is that?
He's a troop. When I was in this one group, Hebrew Israelite group, I used to walk it was almost 2 hours just to go to class. So the people that was running the group saw my zeal with wanting to learn, and that I would go at all lengths and stuff. So they named me the Gad because according to them, the word Gad meant troop. So they took that word and used they used that word like a slang, they would say, "Oh, I'm trooping somewhere" or something like that. So he is a troop, meaning that, I will walk long distances and stuff like that.
That's New York. Yeah, that's New York slang from the 90s. I used to always use that because I was a trooper myself.
Yeah.
So, definitely. All right, man. So, all right. So, what was the cult? How did you first get introduced to the Hebrew Israelite, belief?
In the city I live in Connecticut, the House of David that I was exposed to first. I've seen the Hebrew Israelites before that, but didn't really understand it, like what was going on. And later when I was, searching, from rap groups and the whole hip hop era in the Northeast and stuff like Wu-Tang, and you got Killah Army and a lot of those groups that were what we call knowledge based at the time, poor righteous teachers and stuff. So I like the things that they said, and some of the stuff I didn't understand. So I would go to libraries and stuff and try to understand what they were talking about in their songs. And that's where I started to understand who the Hebrew Israelites were. And then they popped up in my city, and I started listening to them. I had a friend that was in the group, and from him and stuff, I was getting all the lessons and stuff from the classes. And I spoke with them at that time. I was going towards Islam, and from all the books and stuff that they would bring out, their sources to prove that Black people are Israelites and stuff. So I started to studied that stuff, and I took that stuff as facts. And I wanted to learn more about it. And I felt that this is what I want to do. This is why I'm here. And this is like a great revelation that I got this knowledge. And there's many people that don't have it and can't understand it. And a lot of people are sometimes at a low state, trying to find who they are, might have been gone through some things in their life and stuff where they're looking for some meaning. And they caught me. They caught me, and you know, I was gung-ho with the thing and stuff. I wanted to learn everything I wanted to learn, and it started from there.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was the same thing with me. Just to add on, because this is the same story, man. You know, it's like it just catches people's attention. You know, certain people's attention. I grew up listening to Killah Army, Sons of Man. You know, I loved Wu-Tang. Like, forget it. Anything affiliated with Wu-Tang, I'm on it.
Yep,
that's how I was. You know, and when I first heard about Hebrew Israelites, it was a cousin of mine that was in the ISUPK up until like 2001, from the early 90s to 2001. So y'all probably crossed paths, you know. But you know, the first thing I thought about was, oh yeah, I remember Nas talking about Israelites in you know, on the It Was Written album, and you know, so it was like it's in the Black culture. It's part of Hebrew Israelism. Is part of Afrocentrism.
Absolutely.
You know? And it's one of the lesser. Well, now it's very well known, but I guess in the 90s, I was a teenager. I don't think I really came across them, and I was all throughout Queens, you know, the Bronx. I was in Brooklyn and Manhattan all the time. All those, you know, those 4 boroughs. You know, I only been to Staten Island one time, but you know, so I remember maybe seeing some of them by the, like, on Queens Boulevard, by the Queens Center Mall one time, I think. But you know, it wasn't. I mean, in the 90s at least. But it wasn't until 2002, 2003 when I was introduced to it. So at that time, there was already a lot of changes going on, though, in the ICGJC. You know, but that's why I got into that. But what year did you come into all of this? Like, what time frame?
It was like 97, 98.
Okay.
When I first came into it.
I like to always get the time, you know, the time frame and all of that, just to put the pieces together, because everybody comes in at different times and there's always something else going on. And you know, I guess there was already the split had already happened with the House of David by that time,
right?
In 97. So but where did you come in? Like, was it the ISUPK?
It's the House of David out here in
right, the House of David. That's right. Okay.
It's run by Tahar, and Ramlab and
so you remember seeing Tahar?
Yeah. Weird individual. Their appearance and their way that they spoke was not common with the rest of the people in the area and stuff like that. They had more like a militant, very, very, very serious. There's no joking. And one of the first things that they teach you is not to be emotional. So they said that women are emotional and that you should be like basically like a warrior or very stern and speak with authority, that we should be like Christ-like and who they called Yahweh Shai, and that he spoke with authority. So when you speak,
your first appearance of them is like they're really militant, pretty much.
Yeah. Very militant.
And that's not uncommon in Afrocentrism. That's not uncommon at all. Within like Nation of Islam, they're kind of like that too. But what was your like first experience like? You came into class, you know, what was your first experience when you came to class? I'm sure they searched you. That's how they do in all these different places, right?
Yeah, I didn't really start attending classes until I went to ISUPK. That first day I went there, you know, I was still what they would call, he originally called in the world. I still had one foot in the world. I believed everything, and there was things that I didn't understand, and there was things that I doubted. So I was still doing my thing, but I really was serious about the scriptures. And I noticed right off the bat when I asked questions, and it was things that they couldn't answer, it was always a runaround, and it leaves you right back at the same spot. But at ISUPK, I was going to school in New York City, and I remember my first time going there. You know, I had a blunt in my backpack and stuff, so I opened the door and stuff, and there was two big dudes there with walkie-talkies. They're like security guards, and they said, "What are you doing here?" They put their hand out, stop, like, you know what I mean? They were very serious, like, and they wanted to search my backpack. So searched my backpack, found the blood and stuff. We don't have this. This is against the Most High and all this stuff, right? So I'm like, well, all right, I'll throw it out. Like, they're like, no, come back tomorrow. I was like, I get these lessons and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I do terminology and stuff. I saluted them when I came in there and stuff. And they was like, no, come back tomorrow, right? So the next day I was there. They let me in. I went upstairs in the class, and I was just amazed because, like, I was still young. I never went to anything like that before. So I was amazed, especially the architecture of the buildings in New York and stuff, the high ceilings and stuff. I go into class, and there's a bunch of brothers sitting down. First thing I noticed is this huge mural of the Hawashai, like looking like Godzilla, basically, like stomping through the city, like destroying the white people and the helicopters and the police and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, all right, whatever. So I would go there for like a few months. I believe I was taking classes there.
Who would you see? Who you see? You know, like that's maybe known today in that community.
I didn't know anybody, but there was one guy that took to me and trying to teach me and stuff and answer my questions. His last name is Shepherd. I don't remember his Hebrew name, but he was an older guy, wore glasses and stuff. And he would take me to the side. I would ask questions, like, what's the difference between you and the other groups? So they're rebels. They're rebels. You in the right place. This is where you're supposed to. The Most High brought you here for a reason. And the other groups out there, they're rebels. They're rebels. Like, you know what I mean? The Most High is not with them. And he talked about how they all came from there. So if they all came from that group, right, that means that they have the truth. And that the other groups left, they rebelled against the true teachings of God. And I had questions at that time too, their garments, which no one speaks about. I haven't heard anybody else speak on it. They wore Egyptian things on their garments, say their head scarf or whatever you would call it, that they would put on their head. Like you would see like in a Egyptian movie and stuff, the Israelites, they would wear this thing on their head, or you see like Arab movies and stuff, they wear this thing that's wrapped around over their head. It almost looks like a do-rag. But
yeah, definitely
they had things on there that I had some strong questions about, because I got my lessons from the house of David. So when I go there, I see them have Egyptian scarab beetles on it. They would have the cobra, like you would see an Egyptian pharaoh with the cobra on his headdress. Things like that. And I asked about that, and they said, well, we ran Egypt. We was the high coast kings. So all those stuff, Israel made that. We're the salt of the earth. Like, they learn from us.
The Hyksos, right?
Right.
Yeah,
so
yeah. you can just to reference this. There was a DVD that the ICGJC put out in like 2003 called "Purge Out the Rebels." You can find it on YouTube. It's just called Rebels. If you put Rebels ICGJC, you'll see Tazadakia and two men beside him. He's in the middle, and there's one wearing a green garment, and you can see the headpieces. You can see the headscarves. Two brothers have that Egyptian one, the one with the long, things hanging down, and then the other dude got a mitri, which is another way that, another headscarf that they would rock. But just to throw that in there, man, my bad.
Yeah, what was interesting too about the mitri and the headscarf and stuff, it would have a hole on the top. Like I always ask about why is there a hole in the middle of the star? Because they'll have the Star of David on the top of the headscarf on your head, center of the hole. So they said, "Oh, the hole is for the Most High." So
they said that's where the spirit comes through. It comes through.
The spirit comes through the hole of the headscarf. He showed me some cool things about like the Dark Ages and the artwork in Europe at that time, and he would show me pictures that kind of look like black people, like not. Now I look at it, it's just ridiculous, but it would just be like real grainy images and stuff, and they would say these was Israelites, those is Negroes, right? And the way they would drill it in your head, like, and you just kind of accept it, but like those really don't look like black people. And he showed me things like that. One thing was interesting. He showed me the Oxford Dictionary. There's different versions of the Oxford Dictionary, but it's like an older version. It's like one book, like everything's in one volume. And you look up the word Jew in there. And what he showed me is that it said, he saw with my own eyes, that the modern Jews are of Caucasian descent and the ancient Jews are of Negro and Indian descent, right? So I'm sealed right there, like, you know what I mean? And later on, after I left and stuff and started doing research, the Oxford Dictionary shows a timeline with the definitions and the meanings of certain words. So the book is $500. I always wanted it. I never brought it. It's not factual. The things that were in there weren't factual today, but it was just showing a timeline of what people thought. So it wasn't actually saying that black people, Jews, and stuff. So I would love to see it, to research it, to really see what it was. But the new ones, you won't find that in. If you buy Oxford Dictionary today, you won't find it. And you know, I took liking to him and stuff. I was still continuing classes at night, like after school. And there was one particular night, my last night there, that they would pass the little basket thing around for brothers to donate, you know, the donations and stuff, offerings. And it went around, and this other guy, not the dude that did the lesson that night, to this day, I believe it was either Yeshaya or Yohana. I'm just picturing what the guy kind of looked like, and I see these guys today. So I'm like, this dude looks just like that guy. And he said that we don't have enough money, and that brothers should go back in their pockets and give more. And he said, because you're robbing God. They would come out with the scriptures. I rob God, and it's like, where am I? Tithes and offerings, right? So he just kept repeating that scripture, and it was just drilling on people because, you know, we was taught that we're the Israelites, we're God's chosen. So if we don't follow, you know what I'm saying, we're going to be the least in the kingdom, and we might be killed and have to come back in the kingdom through the righteous and all that stuff. So nobody wants to be least. Nobody wants to be spewed, the Most High to spew them out, as they would say, or reject them. So it put a pressure on brothers that really believed it and was really serious about it to give more money. And they passed that thing around probably about 4 times that night. And, you know, like, I was like, something's not right. I'm not giving these people all my money. Something's just not right. So from there, like, I was like, I'm done with this.
Did they lock the doors and all of that?
The guards and stuff were blocking the door. So, like, if you wanted to leave, you would have to go through them, and you would look crazy. So
this was
now,
like 99. Like, what year was this? Like 2000?
This was around 9/11. This was a few months before 9/11. Maybe about 5 months, something like that. Right.
So I talk about this sometimes, which is relevant to the story because I heard that story before when I first came into the ICGJC, because you know, when it was called the ISUPK, I have cousins that were in the ISUPK, like I mentioned earlier. But the one that was really in there for a long time, he had a brother that wasn't really in there that long, and he became a Christian. So he was trying to get me out. He was trying to, like, you know, throw everything at me. And I guess my family was probably trying to tell him, like, yo, you know, try to get him out, you know, show him scriptures.
Right.
He tried to show me, you know, you're not supposed to abhor an Edomite. And then he told me, he was like, yo, one time they locked the door, man, and they was trying to just take people's money. And he was like, yo, after that, that was it for him too, man. Just like you said. That's crazy.
It's funny about Christianity, because at that time, a lot of Christians really didn't know how to deal with Hebrew Israelites.
There you go. Yeah.
Our indoctrination, our brainwashing and stuff, if you could say that, that we went through, we felt that we had all the answers. And we would bring out scriptures and stuff that the church don't speak about. So sometimes it would catch even the ministers, like the leaders of the church. It would catch them off guard.
Definitely.
They're questions that they never had to answer. And they never taught in their church. So it would look like we're winning because they wouldn't be able to answer it. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it can expose the church for doing whatever they trying to do to the people. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. Sorry to cut you off, but that's something I want to kind of highlight real quick, because I mean, it being a new, you know, doctrine, the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, it's a new thing. They actually have the advantage of knowing, you know, bigger groups have been around longer, knowing their doctrines. They already set up like a Jehovah's Witness, Seventh-day Adventist. So they got the advantage. So just to throw that in there.
Yeah, like you said, the Jehovah's Witnesses, they hard to get rid of. You can tell them whatever. They can keep knocking, right?
They calling people now. I got called by a Jehovah's Witness.
Wow.
I'm like, how'd you get my number? They're like, through the ministry. I was like, that don't make sense.
Wow, that's interesting. But the Jehovah's Witnesses that used to come to my house, I remember this one lady. I used to get on them, and they used to scatter. They used to run, and I used to think it would make you feel a certain way that the Most High is with you. And you told those Jehovah's Witnesses and stuff, they going off. And I used to see they used to walk to the door, and they would have, like, you know what I mean, maybe two white people and a black person. And the black person always behind them. They might be new to the group or something like that. Right. And I wouldn't speak to them. I would speak to the black one. You know that the Most High only love you and all this stuff. And the white ones, they wouldn't know what to say. And the black ones, they wouldn't know what to say. And it came to a point where they wouldn't even come. And I remember this one lady, she was very nice. She came there and she saw that I was into the Bible and she couldn't answer my questions. So she gave me their little book, and I was studying it, and I was highlighting all the things that were in their the Watchtower book. And she said, my husband would like to speak to you. So they came back the next week with her husband and had their kid with them. I let them in the house, and they looked at my kitchen table at the books that I had, literally stacks of books. And they was like, oh, we have to go and stuff, because they wasn't ready. Like, they were just like, yo, who is this dude with all these books? What is these books that this guy has? And it makes you feel like, you know what I mean? Like the Most High really put his spirit on you to teach, shame the devil, and all that stuff. But A lot of that stuff, like people weren't equipped to deal with the Hebrew Israelites at that time. So you would see all types of religions and stuff like that you would say, if you could say that. But now there's people that's actually studying their doctrines, and
like Vocab Malone studies the Hebrew Israelites really well.
Yep, absolutely. Cherry Love also.
Cherry Love.
Yeah,
I be going on her channels, on her live sometimes too. She's
awesome.
Yeah, like
they really dissect it. Like they really dissect it. And
Faithful to God is another one. Gotta shout him out.
And now, like, they're scared to deal with them. Like the Hebrew Israelites are literally scared to deal with them. They avoid them, slander and stuff. Like when they can't answer something.
Right.
What technique that they use when they're on the streets teaching is that when they at a point where they cannot answer the question,
right,
they change the topic. They're very like that, and it's so slick. Like
it's very slick how they do that. That's just to throw this out, because that's something that, man, I mean, I come across this a lot, and I came across that recently. But when I pretty much was done with the ICGJC, I was trying to kind of, get my cousin out who's still in there. This is another cousin that's actually was in the same city and everything. So, we lived close to each other, and I was always around her. First cousins, how Hispanics are. That's like my sister. Yeah. And forget it. Once we came in the call, it was like, yeah, she's my sister. She's really my sister now. But yeah. So she, when I was trying to tell her about how Tazadakia was doing one of her best friends dirty, who was the sex slave, she quickly jumped to something that I did sometime in my past to take the attention and the heat off of Tazadakia, as if that, absolves what Tazadakia did because I did some shit. It's like, who are you to say this? That's called the appeal to hypocrisy, or the tu quo qui one.
Yep.
That's
interesting you said that, because when you join too, they want to know about your past. What led you here? Say somebody could have a problem like alcohol, drug addiction, or they might have a problem with porn, or they might have a problem with anything that's against that group. They're shared. They give their testimony. Oh, I might have been into some wicked religion or something like that, right? And they hold that over your head. They say, well, brother, you're in the right place now, and everybody loves you. And all the members, like, we're so happy you're here. You're in the right place. But once you disagree with just the littlest thing in the doctrine, once you might not really agree with a certain part of the doctrine, they call it love bombing. They automatically turn against you. First, when they get you in there, they turn you away from your family. So Christmas is wicked. Halloween is wicked. Easter is wicked. New Year's is wicked. Birthdays is wicked. So now you're not attending none of these family functions. Like, you might have a large family, but they might not get together unless it's the 4th of July or Christmas or Thanksgiving. So the code is telling you this is wicked if you go there. So now you disassociate yourself from your family. And now your family think you bugged out, you crazy, you a grown man, so they let you do what you do. And you might be calling them out and stuff. But once they do that, you're in control. You say you have your new family, my real brothers and sisters. Like Joy Morgan said it right out of her mouth. Her mother said that. She said, this is my new family here. Joy Morgan is a girl that was killed by a member of the Hebrew Israelites. But they
from the IUIC.
Yep, from the IUIC. And once you get to that point, you're under their control. So once you do anything to doubt it, because that doubt can spread. It can spread to another member, and another member. And then you're going to have people leaving the congregation. So what they do, they attack you. They attack you right off the rip. So, you got a wicked spirit on you. What, you out there smoking that weed again? Yeah, you're out there watching porn again, brother. Like, they do these things to put that guilt trip and turn everybody in the congregation against you. So now you're wicked, and now everybody hates you. So now you done lost your family. So you're doing everything. You're gonna fall in line, even if you still don't agree with it. You're gonna act like you do, and you're gonna fall back in line. And that's where the brainwashing and everything starts.
Wow. I'm trying to think. Well, I see this brother on now that I had on last week, and this is pretty much why I wanted to get you on this week. I mean, not only because of that, but because you came on my live, and it's, I should have been had you on my live because you had me on yours like a few times.
Yeah. Yep.
I believe when Tazadakia finally got arrested, and maybe even before that, right? I'm not sure.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, man. Time was flying. I mean, so much has been happening too. I kind of lost. Like, I didn't really lose touch with you, but I don't be on Facebook no more, and I never get your videos suggested either. I'm like, well, what's going on? So I started going through all your videos and liking a bunch of them, so maybe it could come up one. But what was you gonna say?
Yeah, you gotta hit that the bell and stuff. You put it on all, you should be able to get the alert.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot you got those options. But yeah, so you brought up something really interesting about Freemasons and Hebrew Israelites. But I guess before we touch on that, I guess what made you leave? Like, why did you leave? You're not a believer in the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, but like, what was it? Was it like a progression, or
It was. I started to notice the same things. Like I said, like I was 100% into this thing, and I wanted to see it grow. And the things that I would do out of my own time and out of my own pocket, I saw that the group had issues with it, and that they tried to stagnate what you're doing. I'm trying to get brothers to come together, get brothers like that don't have employment, or create situations and stuff so brothers could, like, know what I mean, keep doing what they're doing, because like, you working at a job, and since you're brainwashed, you're saying everybody on a job is wicked, the business itself is wicked because they sell pork or whatever, like, know what I mean. Their uniforms make the women wear pants. So I wanted to create things and soften the blow of that, so brothers could actually live their lives and actually be prosperous. Because the scriptures say, you follow the Most High, you be prosperous. But the code only taught the downside, the curses. I mean, this is happening because the Most High cursed this and stuff. Deuteronomy 28. And all that. So the last group I was in, Torah Nights, I do web design and all a bunch of other stuff, but I was creating websites for the group, and we had problems with people flagging their videos and channel going down. So I was like, we can make a website, and we can stream from the website, and no one can do anything in it with us because we have our own platforms. I had a platform just like Facebook that was our own, like YouTube, and it was our own. You know what I mean? There was so many things. It was amazing, the work that I did. And it would be like a $4,000, $5,000 website if you had somebody create that. And I would stay up nights, weeks, like no sleep, trying to get this thing like done. And the leader of the group would do things to slow it down. I'm like, okay, I need this information for the website. Okay, I'll get it to you. It would never come. And I started to notice that in the past, that a lot of these cult leaders and the Hebrew Israelites, they play ignorant. Oh, I don't know nothing about computers, or I don't know how to do this. And with that, they get the members to do the things for them. And I started reading some books, like the 40 Laws of Power and all those type of books. And those things are right in there. And those are the things that they were doing. And I started to notice that these people didn't want to actually raise a nation like they thought. They wanted to be low key, off the radar from the government, and just get that money how it's coming. For example, House of David, GMS to this day, you got to send blank money orders to them. So you don't know who's cashing the money order in or nothing. And you mail it to them, and there's no record of it. Right. So these people are having money that they don't have to account for. Like we saw with with ICJC, right? They was lying to the people saying they wasn't a nonprofit. So people are donating money, and there's a lot of poor people and stuff that join these groups. They don't pay taxes, like, you know what I mean? They don't know all about a lot of things that the normal American do with life and stuff. So they would give money, like you say, people do it 30% tithes and all this stuff. That money's supposed to come off your taxes at the end of the year. So if you're a nonprofit, you got to give these people receipts so they can take it off their taxes. So what they were doing was lying. So now they're getting money in that they're a nonprofit that they don't have to account for. So they can say, oh, we bring in this much money, like, right? And they don't have to pay any taxes on the money. So it was a hustle. So you had these people giving their hard-earned money, not being ignorant of what's really going on. And it's not helping them. Like, you give money, you get a tax write-off. These people say, we're not that, so we don't have to give you any tax write-off. Because if they did, that money would have to be accounted for the nonprofit. Because a nonprofit is an open book. Anybody could look up how much money is coming in from a nonprofit. So they kept all that stuff hidden from the people.
I guess that's a way for them to hide in plain sight, and be, and trick the people out of their money.
Yeah,
crazy. Not bad.
IUIC was another one. I'm the one that came up with the military cadence in IUIC. I was like, yeah, man, back in the day, ISUPK, they used to be militant, like, you know what I mean? They used to be in military formation. They used to teach karate classes at Marcus Garvey Park. And there was a brother that was taking me to the classes at that time. So he had rank, right? So I would tell him these things, and he would bring it to Nathaniel and the rest of them. They're like, that's a good idea, because this brother was in the military. So he volunteered to teach the brothers. Like, so they would say, oh, we have to keep the laws of the land. The laws, right? And I'm like, okay, we have a kitchen in here. One night they give us jobs to clean up and stuff. I put my hand on a hot sterno can, like for the heating the food. And I didn't notice it was still lit. It got that blue flame, you can't see it. Burn the hell out of the can. So I'm like, if I didn't know and threw this in the garbage, that garbage can could have caught on fire. And we're in the basement of an apartment building. We run out of here, this building can catch on fire and people could die. So if we're supposed to be keeping the laws, we should have a fire extinguisher in there. So, and I was doing importing from China, the fringes that they were getting, that they were charging so much money for. And I'm like, I can get that stuff from China. And we don't have to charge brothers as much. It won't be a burden on brothers that have to buy fringes to put on their garments. Shut that down.
The IUIC is ran by Nathan, so you used to deal with him a lot too with all that stuff.
I used to deal through it. I didn't like the dude from the jump. Like the first day I met him, they had their little poster of Yahweh Shai, and I was like, why Yahweh Shai look like me?
Did you meet him in the House of David?
No, I met him the first time in this group called the 12 Tribes. That was another split from the original school that he was running. I didn't really know who he was. I was doing one.
I got a lot of information from them. I think you probably set up that website. Did you set up that website?
No, I never set up.
Okay, well, yeah, you probably came afterwards, but they had a website with a lot of information on there, right?
Oh yeah, the 12 Tribes, yeah.
Okay, because I remember going to the library and printing out a bunch of papers when I first learned about it, and I took it home, and then my cousin was like, "No, no, no, those are rebels," and I was like, "What are rebels?"
I mean, literally 20, 30, 40 pages you could print from that website. The amount of information that was in there.
Oh yeah, I was like, what do you mean? This looks like everything that we're talking about. And she's like, trust me, they're rebels, blah, blah, blah. And that was the first, like, one of the red flags. I was like, what the hell is this? All right, never mind.
Yeah, they used to have online classes, and this is before 2000. They was having online classes within the chat and stuff.
Okay, my bad. But what was it that you didn't like about Nathan or Nate, whatever, Nathaniel?
It was just off. And I used to notice
it doesn't seem genuine to me.
No, not at all. And I see a lot of these leaders do this too. They don't know the scriptures. If you watch a lot of these classes, they'll be talking about something. They said, like it's slipping their mind. They're like, what's the name of it? And then somebody will come in with the scripture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there was one incident when I was in IUIC. They had a fast the last Sabbath of the month. It wasn't mandatory. So brothers could do it if they want. But really what that meant is if you didn't do it, you really don't care about the truth. So there was brother, I never did it. So there was brothers that was taking me, we'd be in camp in the Bronx, and it was a hot day that day. And brothers didn't bring water because they fasted, right? So I wasn't supposed to go to camp, but since this brother was bringing me to class and stuff, I had to go to camp because the camp would start before the Sabbath class on Saturday. So it was like 100 and something degrees that day, scorching hot. When those New York City brick buildings and all that, and there used to be ambulance that used to be parked out there every Saturday, and they would be watching us. A white lady and an Indian, like a Indian guy, and that day. This brother was screaming top of his lungs and stuff, right? He's going in. All of a sudden, he just hit the floor. Boom, like a sack of rocks. And here come the ambulance. Whoop, whoop, whoop. They did a little U-turn and pulled right up. And the brothers picked him up. They brought him to the ambulance. And they just got finished talking about white people and talking about Hindu people, right? And these people out there watching it. And now they pull up to help them. And they're like, yeah, we're out here every weekend. We watch you guys. You guys are interested. So they had no hate, but they had hate for the people. Now they bring this guy in the back of the ambulance. They're trying to give him water and to go to the hospital. He won't drink the water because he's fasting. And I'm like, dude, you're about to die. Drink the water. And brothers is trying to get him to drink it. He won't drink it. Then I noticed, all the brothers in the camp are at the ambulance, and I look, and I see Nate across the street, all by himself. So I walk across the street. I said, Elder Nathaniel, can you go get this dummy to drink some water so he won't die? This man, you know how he wear those shades, right? Yeah. He's just looking up at the sun. And I could see the sun reflecting on the lens of his glasses. Didn't say a word. Like I wasn't even talking to him. Like I wasn't even there. He just staring up in the sky. And I'm like, did this dude not hear me? I said it again. He didn't say a thing. So I was like, I just shook my head and walked back to the ambulance and stuff and got this brother to drink and stuff like that. And that Sabbath class, nobody mentioned anything or nothing. But I said from that point right there, I'm like, this man wicked as hell. He's trying to dissociate himself from trouble. Because what if they have this fast? Now this man dies. There's going to be an investigation. He wanted to get himself out of the way of it. And he was a police officer at the time.
I was going to ask you that. I was going to say that.
He said he was the highest ranking detective in New York State.
I saw him. I was working upstate one time in Albany. Actually, it was a little bit north of Albany, Saratoga Springs, which is is like 2 hours or maybe an hour north of Albany. And when I landed at the airport and I was waiting to get my rental car, who do I see but Nathaniel and his entire family? I couldn't believe it. I was like, no, wait. This was like 2 years ago, maybe, or a year and a half. And I was like, this is crazy, you know? And he's waiting for his bags at the airport, you know, Albany Airport. And I was like, I'm not even going to say nothing. He's with his family, you know, I'm not even going to do nothing like that. But I wanted to show somebody that I knew that was in the cult. I wanted to show, like, yo, look who I just saw, just random shit. And I caught a little video of him, but it was like, he was you know, you could barely see him, but I just thought that was weird. And ever since then, you know, I just always think about how, you know, that dude he does seem like he's weird, bro. He's always giving like a fake laugh.
Yeah.
I saw him out in Africa. He'd be traveling all over the world trying to bring this Hebrew Israelite doctrine.
And know what I saw with him too? That at the Sabbath classes that he would teach, they would always arrive late. So it's mandatory for us to be there on time. And it shows us that we have a zeal for the Most High and stuff. But this guy could just waltz up in here with his family. So he telling brothers that we should quit our job or convince our job to give us the day off and stuff on the Sabbath. But why are you late? That's
the same thing that Tazadake used to do, you know. He'll come in whenever he wants. He'll do, you know, he don't have to go by the rules. And out of all the Hebrew Israelite groups, the two that I see that are most similar, which shouldn't be, is IUIC and ICGJC, because like you were saying, the ISUPK is when the splits, you know, they all came out of the ISUPK, the House of David. Nate went with the House of David, and then he started that IUIC crap. Yep. So when he was in ISUPK, you know, they were teaching, I guess, you know, pretty much the same things up until Tazadakia changed the doctrine, then changed the church to the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ. And that's an important thing that I noticed, that they both teach the doctrine of the body of Christ, which is how they're in Christ. You know, I mean, it's a scripture in the doctrine. I mean, it's a scripture in the Bible, so it could easily be turned into a doctrine. But it's no reason for those two groups to be so similar, you know, especially from the way that they run, not so much the doctrine, but the way that they operate. You know, how they try to be efficient, they try to be official, they don't try to be too like out there racist. And they have a good, you know, they have an image, they have a good appearance about them, a nice image. They look like they're in order. And I just, you know, that just stands out to me. And with those two groups, it's just something funny with them. Go ahead.
And where that came from is the members. All those great things you see that they do, and the beautiful videos and the graphics and shirts and all this stuff, that comes from the members at free labor. There was that sign that they put in Texas with Yahweh Shai on it saying Christ was black. That was donated by a member. Somebody that wasn't even officially a member. He was just watching the videos and attending the online classes. The man put up the money to put up the billboard. You got Bezalel. Bezalel was the graphic designer and the web developer. Right? You had this other brother, this big guy, his name slips by me, but he was taking care of the store and all the printing and all that stuff, and the books and all that stuff. They had another guy that came from North Carolina and set up a server for free. But me, there was a guy, he was a member of the Philly ISUBK. His name was Lama Cod, or something like that. And I spoke, this was on Black Planet back in the day. And he gave his number. He said he had like 4 wives. And he said, brother, he said, it don't matter what school you go to. Because I was asking.
Still there? I think he cut out. Yeah. Let me know if you're still there. I can't hear you. I don't know if you can hear me. Little technical difficulties, it looks like. Yeah, we're still live. Let me see. I don't know if you can hear me, brother, but yeah, I can't I can't hear you right now, so I'm gonna just try to keep it going until maybe I could get you back on. Can you hear me? Okay. I felt like he was gonna get kicked out. So yeah, he'll hop back on. But yeah, man, we're gonna get into pretty much. I mean, he's talking about why he left right now. That's where we left off. So we'll get right back to that. He's talking about his history pretty much with all these Hebrew Israelite groups, you know, dealing with Tahar, Nate, Yohana. So this brother got a lot of insight. I think he's back.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah, there you go. No problem.
So, where I was at.
You were talking about a brother in Philly. You were talking about a story in Philly. I'm gonna put you on the layout, but I'm still here. I'm gonna just put only you on the layout real quick. But yeah, keep going.
He said, brother, it don't matter what camp you go to. Just go there and get the scriptures. He said, you get the scriptures and you go home. He said, don't laugh and joke with nobody. Don't make no friends. Don't fall in no cliques. Just go and get the scriptures and go home, brother. He said, long as it's coming out the scriptures, you're going to be all right. And he said, and he told me this. He said, brother, you mess around, you fall in cliques and all this stuff. Next thing you do, you're going to be winding up making garments for free. That's what he told me, right? And I'll be damned. When I joined IUIC, the first class, after the class, Bezalel was in the garage. They had a screen printing press, and they were printing the IUIC shirts. Now, I've been printing T-shirts and stuff since I was 14 years old. I consider myself a professional. So I'm like, well, this is a better, more efficient way you should be doing this, and you don't have adequate equipment to do what you're doing, right? Bezalel gives me an attitude right off the rip. Brother, how you gonna tell me? And brother, you ain't been tried yet. Like, so I have to, the Most High, I have to be tried to be worthy enough to be in the group before I can help you with what you're doing. So I had an issue with that. This brother, was Shem. I think he probably a captain or something now. He was the one bringing me to classes. So I'm venting to Shem. Like, our way home from classes was just me telling him how these brothers is going off. So he's like, brother, you need to calm down, because he really believed in all this stuff, the group. And I'm telling them how they going off, and I'm proving it with the scriptures and everything. So I guess he speaks with the elders and Bezalel. The next day, they call me up, like, yeah, brother, if you can help us, that'd be a blessing if you can help us with this, right? And I'm like, cool, like, I'm down, like, whatever. So I went there. I had a meeting with Bezalel, telling them the proper equipment and stuff that we need. They got some of it. And we're still basically, it was a one color press. So like, and the shirt board that you put the shirts on, it wasn't adequate. So they got a brother that do carpentry to make a shirt board. I'm like, no, we have to get a shirt board, not make one. So with the heat, he made it out of plywood. With the heat, it warps the wood. So now when you go to put the ink on the shirt, the board's not even. So some areas get more ink than others, right? So I did what I had to do. First, when they told me, I gave them my price. And he said, brother, when you know nobody gets paid here. I said, I'm going to get paid. Don't the scriptures say, woe on a man that builds his house off another man's labor? You should have saw their face. And the people in IUIC didn't know how long I've been an Israelite. They think I'm just coming into the truth. Their elder Labaka, I'll remember him. when he first came in the truth. You know what I mean? When he was trying to learn, and now he's an elder. That's who I saw on one of their videos. I was like, wait a minute, I know that brother. So I reached out to the school and stuff, and they hooked me up with Shem that lived in Connecticut and stuff. Bring me. So I start, they agree on paying, right? So now I'm a sales rep. I was in the skateboarding industry and stuff. So now I'm taking out time from my work to travel by train to the Bronx, take subways to go there to help them. And I get there, some days I have to wait 3 hours for a brother to open the school up, to let me in to do the work. Then the payments come. I got to wait on money. And they selling these shirts for $20, $25. And the shirts are only costing $1, like $1.25. And I think I was only charging them like $3 like a print, like $3 a shirt. So they're getting these shirts for under $5 and making $15, $16, $17 off of it. And I'm like, and they're flying out of the door. Their orders were backed up. Like they were so backed up. And I will go in, I'll print 100 shirts this day, 100 shirts this day. And they were going out the door. So I'm like, what's the issue with my money? Well, brother, we ain't got it right now. Or the brother's not here. They go to the bank and get the money. They're telling me to get the money from members and stuff. I'm like, why I have to ask a member for the money? You should be asking the member for the money, not me. So like, it was a whole bunch of stuff. And then when I was telling you about the shirt board, some of the shirts, like I'm doing 5 times the work that I should be doing on each shirt. So I'm like, yo, this thing ain't working, but they want the stuff done. So I'm doing it. So some of the stuff had errors in it because it's not my fault. It's not my printing. It's the equipment. So I tell this other brother that, right? Just telling him what's really going on. He goes to the elders and tell them that I'm messing up the shirts. So after a Sabbath, they called me over and they said, yeah, brother, they're saying you're messing up the shirts and stuff. I said, no. I said, I told you the equipment to buy. You didn't buy it. So I'm doing, you want it done, I have to do the best I can to get it. And if there are errors, the errors is because of the equipment, not me. So I said, well, get that brother that told you. They didn't want to get him. I said, don't you supposed to have witnesses? Right? I said, so what did I put on my, like, I shocked them. I said, okay, I'll replace all the shirts. I said, how much? How many shirts that are wrong? I'll pay for them. Right? They're like, no, brother, they didn't want me to do it no more because they got the money, right? And they owed me $200. That's the most that they owed me. You know, they used to pay me $50 here, $70 here, $80 here, whatever. Now this, they backed up to $200. They don't want to pay me. So now they're putting it on me. Like my spirit is off. Where I'm asking, okay, where the witnesses at? We supposed to do things according to the scriptures. Ain't that what y'all do? And then I offer to pay, just like the scriptures would say, according to the law, right? They didn't want to hear. So then they found somebody else, some like printer that were giving them like the same deal or whatever. So whatever. So after that, I just felt something. I was like, yo, like I don't even feel comfortable coming here because the elders are breaking the law. I said I could see the members breaking the law, but the people that are teaching us to keep the law, they breaking the law. So after that, I just stopped coming. And you know, they calling me and stuff. I don't even answer the phone, none of that. And then one of the brothers that was in it, they said they were just talking to me about like a dog. Like I used to go to and all types of stuff.
That humiliation, they constantly do that, humiliation and all that bullying.
Right. Yeah. And they did it to Deacon Shakia, who knew that I've been in the cult for a long time, like since he been in, and he an elder. And I remember one night they put him in council because he was talking to members from another state. So they know he learned more than all the other elders. So they looked at him as he was trying to steal members to start his own group. Yeah. So this big thing with him, they took his rank and put him in the audience like everybody else. Like they did him dirty. He ended up leaving, and when he left, he exposed some stuff about what was going on. They had a kid that was homosexual or whatever, and somehow this man said, I guess he sent it, or maybe somebody took it, a naked picture of him, and Nate sent the picture to Shakia and other members and other people that was like, you know what I mean, high ups and stuff. And there was no response from the text message. They texted to him. And he looked at it and he was like, you know what I mean? Like, what the hell is this? He didn't know what to say. So he's like, why is Nate have a new picture of this man? Where did Nate get this new picture of this man? And before I joined, there was a split in IUIC. There was another group that started. It was called the World of Israel in Christ, or something like that. There was another guy that was not Canaan. There was another guy that was with Nate as an elder, and something happened where Nate's wife was speaking to the other elders about Nate and how she don't want to sleep with him anymore. She discussed him. It's repulsive. And that news got out. And it caused a split and like aggregation with this guy. And I find it strange now with that picture, they'll say, what might have really been going on? Nate's wife was actually a model. She was a dancer in a lot of old school rap videos. You watch some old school rap videos and see her dancing in the video. But after IUIC, I was pretty much done with the Hebrew Israelites. I started looking into all the kinetic stuff and all that stuff. And then I ran across Torah Knights, who was teaching just Old Testament, right? And this guy, I'm like, yo, this is information that I ain't been taught. Really what he was teaching was Kabbalah, which was not taught at all and looked down on and stuff in the Hebrew Israelites. Right. So I'm wanting to learn this stuff, and he telling me the Most High gave him this information. I'm like, whatever, dude. I just want to know what you're teaching. So the more I pushed him, the least information. And I started to notice that, why is this guy isn't teaching? Like, you make his little videos and stuff, and we wanted more information. And it was just like spoon feeding. He didn't really know. He was just winging it. So he got a group of people. He basically dismantled the Hebrew Israelites. Like, that group pretty much put the Hebrew Israelites on the hot seat single-handedly. But the guy, he had some issues. He had a lot of issues, and like psychological issues, like mental stuff was going on. And I started, you know what I mean, push the group. I wanted the group to get bigger. There was some things he got caught out on. In his past, like before he came on YouTube, he was on some hip hop websites, speaking out some crazy stuff, like, you know what I mean, like homosexual type stuff and whatnot, and which is supposedly against the scriptures. And all the ruckus he was causing, people found it. GMS was actually the first to find it and expose him on it. And he lied about it. I'm like, dude, that's you. That's your name. Like, he denied the name that he had when he first came on YouTube, and he changed it. And I knew the guy was lying. I said, maybe this guy was like this in the past, and he changed his ways. He found the Torah and stuff. So let me not just say no. Just teach, dude. And it never got to the teaching. It was just more conflict. Like, oh, these people over here, the Masons. These people over here, they wicked. They worship Jesus, and like, and it comes into humiliation. Yeah, it's like a humiliation thing with no lessons. So this guy strung us along for 7 years with no information, basically. Long story short, and he was a lost straw. He was a total last straw. And after that, I said, every one of these groups, I saw the same thing. So I'm out of here. Like, I cut my losses. I'm out. I don't want anything to do with this stuff. And that's where the channel started from that point.
Did you just say that you're an atheist?
I wouldn't say I'm an atheist. Gnostic, maybe.
Okay.
I'm more learning about different types of religions, spirituality, and stuff. I started to actually research what the slaves, like the Deuteronomy, you know what I'm saying, we descended slaves and stuff. So I started to want to learn what did they believe in, right? So starting West Africa and stuff, the religions of West Africa and Central Africa and stuff. And then coming over from there, coming to the Americas, what type of customs and stuff that they had, because like they said, oh, we were just Christian, like we wasn't allowed to worship and practice nothing. But when I came to the information, I found out it was a lie. Cuba was one of the first places the slaves came in the Americas, and these people from the Congo, and these people held on to their religion, but the things that were in the new land, so a lot of things that they used for their customs weren't available. And then you had the Indians that were there. They started to merge and get guidance from the indigenous people of that land and the religions that they dealt with. And there was a merge with it. And it came out with religions like Palo-Miambe. You get the voodoo religion from West Africa and stuff that was brought over here. And it was synchronized with Catholicism. Then you also had the Spanish that were there with spiritualism, spiritismo. So a lot of those things started to merge together. And especially studying Cuba, I found it very fascinating that it was all three of these groups, the so-called white man, the African, and the indigenous Indian, actually put their religions together. And you see aspects from each one of these people's cultures. And these things are practiced to this day. And a lot of the slaves in Cuba, they knew where they came from. They knew what land it came from. And there were so many new slaves coming in. Some of them, they even said that they even knew what was going on back in Africa. And there was a time when they let them free. Some of them went back to Africa. And the ones that went back, a lot of the ones that went back to Africa, they said, I'm better off back in Cuba. And they turned around and went back to Cuba and continued their lives off there. So they didn't want to be back in Africa. They're like, look, these people out wearing clothes and stuff, I'm sort of what we call civilized or whatever. I'm better off back there. So like you go to Brazil, they're still practicing African religion. And you see people that are light-skinned, that we will call Caucasian. Some of those people are even practicing African religion and actually know African language.
The percentage of African Americans in Brazil is very large. I'm sorry, African Americans, of Africans. The percentage of Africans, slaves that came to Brazil, it's like, I mean, I think they hold one of the biggest, I guess, countries that hold like the most African Americans.
Yeah, the majority went there, and actually the least came to the United States. The least amount came to the United States.
Yeah, I
and
believe
like you get in the United States, we developed. You got religions like hoodoo, what people would call like in the Deep South, root work and stuff like that. And you see it play out in some movies, or even some superstitions we got to this day that Black people that have roots from the South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, or whatever. There's certain superstitions that we still practice today that actually go back to slavery time and is part of a religion. Like, don't sweep over somebody's foot, or don't put your hat on the bed. You know what I mean? There's certain little things, and you can trace those things back. The pews, like they got this big thing now about the first Black church in America, and they have these pews that the Hebrew Israelites are trying to say is Hebrew and stuff, but nobody knows what it is. But I found something interesting where they hid the slaves underneath. It was part of the Underground Railroad, and where they hid the slaves underneath the floor. They called it ear holes, but the ear holes were in a symbol. And that symbol dates back to the Congo religion, the Congo religion. And they use that symbol in Palomyambe and stuff. So I'm like, could that symbol show that some of these Africans, they might have been Christian, but still held on to some of the native religion? Because they told us that we lost everything. Like, you know what I mean? We don't know nothing about, we were just Christian. They made us Christian. We wasn't allowed to practice it. We had to hide everything.
But you became aware of the Jewish, I guess, religion and how it did spread to Africa, at least, you know, some parts of West Africa, North Africa, and Ethiopia, of course, East Africa. I was gonna say, how did you think that got there? Because they're gonna say, well, those are Israelites, but that's not according to what I've been reading.
Right. I wouldn't say that these people are Israelites and they learned all that stuff from the Israelites leaving 70 AD and fled
from their ancestors. Right. Right. It wasn't their ancestors' tradition, but yeah.
Right. Like they adapted things from visitors, just like the Christians. When the Christians
or slave masters.
Yep. Or just before the slavery thing even started, the white people will come in there and they like observe them and might trade with them and something. And the chiefs might like, hey, Christianity, and the missionaries and stuff might teach this African tribe Christianity. And they say, hey, this is cool. This works. It works for us. Hey, we're going to start practicing this now. So I wouldn't say it was a bad thing for them, but bad things happen. But the religion itself, these African people embraced it without being forced into it. So you see people like respect other people's customs and stuff like that. And I think Jewish people, real Jewish people, came in and spread their religion, and people started to believe these things. I got a book. It's called, I can't think of the name of the book. I'm gonna do a video using it one day. But it basically says, like, there's no evidence of it. Like these Ethiopians, like they say the flashes or whatever, there's no evidence of them being Israelites, and that it has popped up. And you look at the customs and how they do it, they don't practice it like the Hebrew Israelites. They practice that custom like you would see the modern Jews, the white Jews or whatever today. They practice it like them. And even you go there today, they wearing yarmulkes.
Yeah, and Ethiopians, I was watching a debate of Africans. It was a white South African, it was a black Nigerian, and I think there was another one from Ghana, a woman from Ghana, and then there was an Ethiopian, like he was like a teenager, and they were all talking about who they are and how they feel about different things about white people being in Africa and things like that. And when it came time for the Ethiopian to speak, he was like, well, I don't even consider myself a Negro. He said he considers himself a Jew. And he's like, we are the people of Israel. We're not Negroes. So it's real funny what happened. And I think a lot of that is due to slavery. I mean, there's like even evidence of with the Arabs. Arabs were, I mean, I think they were probably the first ones that started trading. I think they are the first ones that traded Africans. And they brought, their Islam, and that's why you have, that spread to, a lot of Africans, which is different from the Nation of Islam. Nation of Islam, that's something completely different.
They talk about the Moorish Empire is a lot of things that the Hebrew Israelites spoke about. And you do the study on it, the Moors weren't black. They say, oh, the Moors is black. And you do the research that North Africa is not the same people as the sub-Saharan African that were brought in the slave trades. The Moors, which are the Berbers and the Arabs, they brought black slaves from the sub-Saharan and made them soldiers. So there was a lot of soldiers in the Moorish Empire army but they weren't in control. They were just slave soldiers, and they sent them out to battle, and people feared them. They looked different. You got some jet black dude going somewhere in Europe. People are going to be scared of them. They're like, who the hell are these people? Where they come from? And a lot of the they even in Morocco, they had what they call the Black Guard. There was a certain sultan, a caliph, whatever. He made it a point to use these black soldiers as the royal army to protect him and to patrol the city, how we have police and stuff today, because the citizens looked down on the sub-Saharan African people. They were different. They were different in that they wanted, and there was less way of someone trying to overthrow the empire. If you have a foreigner patrolling and making sure the citizens do what they do, tax collecting and stuff like that. So the citizens hate these people, so they're not going to be any friendship. So they can't say, well, you know, the Sultan ain't no good, and the soldier not going to say, like, they're not going to speak to the soldier that way. But if they had a regular Berber or Arab person patrolling the community, it is more likely chance that they might start to side with the citizens or be friends with the citizens, and it will cause something where, you know, somebody might take over the leadership and stuff like that.
When you look at the genetic traits of North Africans, from Libya, Algeria, you know, even Egypt, they look completely different than people that are in Senegal. But Senegal does have a little mix, by the way. But let's go like Ghana or Togo, Benin, and that's just south of the Sahara, you know, desert. And it's just something with, you know, it's science, man. I mean, I'm not going to go into all of that, but there's just over time, there's been genetic traits the genetic differences that happen. And yeah, because of that, they probably started feeling like, oh, we look different. We are different. And they didn't consider themselves the same people. So when you look at Egypt, what was considered Lower Egypt, which is actually Upper Egypt, I mean, there's so much history of Egypt, but when you get down to like the pharaohs, they weren't like Nubian or Kushite, you know. Right. So that, just wanted to put that out there. Hebrew Israelites need to do more research on the Berbers, the Canary Islands, Morocco, the Moors, and all of that, and see that there is actually a difference between North Africans. Sometimes they even have blue eyes. They have a different, the genes are completely different.
Absolutely. So, even technology. Like they want to say the Bantus are Israelites, Nubians and stuff. Yeah. Some of those people didn't even have clothing. They wasn't even making textiles into the first century. Into 1 AD. Like they were wearing animal skins.
Can you please repeat that again?
Yep. They didn't even wear clothes. Like they wore clothes, but not fabric. Like if they were Israelites, who the declines in technology. So if you're making clothing like linen and stuff like that, and the Israelites, they had linen, the priests had linen clothing and stuff like that. But
they prided themselves in that. That's why it's all in the scriptures. That's why they treated sub-Saharan Africans, because they were still really tribalistic. And, you know, a lot of them were still living in like mud. They were living in mud huts, a lot of them.
Yeah, even the wheel, right? They had chariots in North Africa, Mesopotamia, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
When the European came to West Africa and the Congo and stuff, they noticed that they had no concept of the wheel.
Right.
That they showed them the wheel. They didn't even have a written language into the 1800s when the European gave the Bantus a written language. So if those people are Israelites and they have no technology of writing language, so how did they write the Torah? How did the priests wear garments? So now they don't know how to make clothing, but they was making the clothing back then. So how you decline in technology is
Israelites have no concept. Black Hebrew Israelites from One West largely have no concept of any history or any time frame. Linear time is just, it doesn't matter to them. And you know, they could that's why sometimes hitting them with historical facts, it's like it doesn't even faze them. Do you have anything like scriptural where you ever had any questions that they couldn't answer, or you could shut them down, just like a quick cut, something real quick that you just like real easily shut them down? That's not dealing with history, just like scriptural.
Scriptural, okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you need to throw history.
The Exodus, right?
Yeah.
They said that Pharaoh. Okay, you said not history. Well, no, this is not really. This is strictly.
No, well, that's fine. That's fine.
Well, actually, no, that does go into history. I was saying how. Oh no, they talking about that God killed all the livestock of the Egyptians, right?
Yeah.
So when Moses fled, how did Pharaoh get on a chariot in the armies, chase down the Israelites if they had no horses?
That's a good one.
So if it said it killed all the livestock, that means there's no animals, like no livestock, no horses, no cows, no sheep, no goats, none of that stuff. So how was the Pharaoh and the army and stuff riding out on chariots and stuff chasing them if God killed all the livestock? Like that's ridiculous. And the Red Sea, you know, some people say the Red Sea. The Red Sea, it would take, I looked up the size of it and how long it would take to walk across it. It would take about 5-6 days to walk across the Red Sea. So that means a body of water would have to stand still. So you got tides, you got all these things. It would be a catastrophe. Like if the tides and stuff were to come out, if they had to hold back the water for days. And then they found the Pharaoh, people say Ramses II or whatever. They said it was Ramses. If they want to go by that, they found Ramses' body. Ramses was 90-something years old when he died and had severe arthritis. So you telling me a 90-year-old man got up on a chariot and started chasing some people through the desert?
There's a lot with that Egypt and Exodus. But the scripture that you're talking about where God killed all the livestock is Exodus chapter 9 and 6, in case somebody wants to deny that. Because I was thinking about it. I was like, what scripture is that? But that's true. That's a good one. Another one I would throw on top of that real quick, just because we're dealing with I guess things that would just cause the earth to just go crazy, like when the sun. Remember Joshua and the sun supposedly stopped or something like that? Do you know what kind of things, ramifications that would happen to the earth? Like there would be all types of disasters, but that lets you know that they had no concept of cosmology. They thought the earth was flat, and you know that's literally what the ancient Hebrew Israelites thought, that the earth was flat. I don't know if you know that too, but yeah, there's so much. There's so much, but I mean the scriptures, the 12 tribe sign. I mean that's something that's just ridiculous. But we were going into the history of that, of the 12 tribe sign, and you mentioned that Abba Bivens actually used to use the 12 tribe sign.
Right. Abba Bivens was the first to develop the 12 tribes sign. And
was it exactly like how they have it now? At least
I believe so, but it was used for marketing purposes. At a time, you know, people were religious, they go to church and stuff. So they're a new group. They need members. So what they would do is basically like, it's almost like a drug dealer posted up on somebody else's block. So when the people coming out of church, they're right there next door to the church with their sign. And now they have to walk by and they say, Negroes is Judah. So they know like 12 tribes of Israel, what you mean Negroes is Judah? So we Jews or whatever, they be like, yeah. Like, but it was used to get the people's attention to want to know more. Just like they got us in there. They might say, oh, he from the Puerto Ricans. Rubens, Seminole Indians, and all these people. It's
like you said, giving out free ice cream and shit.
Yeah, right. Like I said that before. Yep.
Right. So, I like that. Free ice cream for Puerto Ricans.
Yeah,
Don't you,
like
you don't want free ice cream? Come on.
Yep. It's like a Puerto Rican icy store that all Puerto Ricans go get their ices on Sunday. And now you open up a shop right next door and you put a sign out there say free ices for Puerto Ricans. So of course they're like, we gonna go check that out. But when you go in there, they say, okay, when you buy an icy, we're gonna get the Puerto Ricans free icy after you buy one. Right. So it was just something to get your attention to get in the door.
Right. So to identify, so you can identify.
Right.
And yeah.
So there was this man, I get his name, Louise or something like that. I forgot his name. He was an elder with Abba Bivens. He right hand man, right? And he used to be out there teaching with him on the streets. And he told him, he said, brother, you know that's not right. He said, I know, but that's what we got to use to get them in. Then we tell them what it is. Okay. So that was used basically to get the attention of the people, to bring them in into the church and to be taught. And what had happened after Abba Bivens passed away, Ariah took control, and Ariah made the chart real. He made it actually literal.
Right.
So it came from a lie. It came from a man that's doing some marketing to somebody actually taking that and saying, no, that's real. So to get the truth from the people, to get the attention of the people and keep them there. God loves only you. So if God loves only you, this is the only place you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be at the Baptist church. You're not supposed to be at the Catholic church. You're not supposed to be over here with Jehovah's Witnesses. We teach you the truth. So
yeah, I saw videos of him literally out in the street trying to teach people.
Yep.
Right on YouTube.
And a lot of people also don't know that the original school was a Masonic lodge before it opened.
Right. And that's definitely what I wanted to segue into.
Yep. And their congregation are still active today. They don't associate themselves with the Israelites, quote unquote Hebrew Israelites that you see out there today. But it still come from the roots of that. So a lot of people don't know, like you go to blackjews.org, that's the actual Commandment Keepers congregation. You go to that website, blackjews.org, and you will see the information where it says that Rabbi Matthews was the head of the Ethiopian. I can't think of the name. It's something like it slipped my tongue. But you go there, you will see it. You do they have the bios on all the elders. They have the bio on Rabbi Matthews. When you read it, it tells you that he was a Freemason. Right. And that it was originally a Masonic lodge when it opened. Then it turned into.
You know the address? Was it 120? Was it 1 West 123rd Street?
It was 1 West. Yep. Okay. It was 1 West.
Because before 1 West 125th Street, I believe, it was Rabbi Matthew Wentworth was at 1 West 123rd Street, but that's back in like the 50s, 40s, or something like that, I believe.
And what I found interesting too, that the founders of it, you go to Rabbi Ford, Crawley, they were all Freemasons. You could go to Crawley's congregation. You can go right to their website, and they give the bio on how Crowley came up with the whole concept of them being Israelites, and how he was an ex-slave that joined the Civil War, joined the Union Army. After the Union Army, he was given land. He became a Freemason, and then from that, he was chopping wood or something in the yard. And he said something came to him. He saw a vision, told him to run in the woods or whatever. He ran in the woods and got the revelation that we're the Israelites. He was also a Buffalo soldier too. A lot of people. He was also a Buffalo soldier for the army. And he started to act really strange. And they said that his wife figured that he was drinking too much with his Mason buddies. And he just started to talk and act bugged out. Basically, some type of mental illness was going on. And he came up with that revelation and he started up the group. And if you go to their website, you would actually see the congregation dress in like sort of a Masonic garb. You know what I'm saying? Like you would see like the sash and things like that, and stuff that you would see in a lodge. They take parts of that and moved it into that. You got Rabbi Ford. Look up Rabbi Ford. You're gonna find it. It's right there. And they're also into the occult teachings. Rabbi Ford was telling people that he could disappear.
Wow.
A lot of the stuff too came from Pentecostal religion. A lot of people don't know the techniques of how they teach comes from the Pentecostal religion. And it's I sent you that article and stuff. Was talking about Rabbi Matthews being into witchcraft. There's a book written by a Frenchman called the 6th and 7th Book of Moses. And that's used by a lot of people like in hoodoo, like the hoodoo religion and stuff like that, where I believe your guest last week was talking about the Book of Psalms and how the Book of Psalms could be used for spell work.
Right.
And that's basically what the 6th and 7th Book of Moses was. It was a book using the Psalms and spell work. And these people studied this. At that time, people were looking for knowledge. All different types of knowledge. There was all different types of society started. It's like the industrial era. Black people had money. People worked. So like many of them wasn't poor and stuff. Right. They might have lived in the ghetto, but they worked 9 to 5.
Right. There were a lot of social clubs popping up in Harlem, after the Harlem Renaissance. Madam C.J. Walker was the first woman millionaire. The first woman millionaire in America was a black woman. I want everybody to realize that. This is how much independence the African American community had prior to a lot of things that I want to get into, definitely later on. But yeah, there were a bunch of social clubs popping up, and I'm sure, this Hebrew Israelite thing could have just popped up naturally. Could have been that they really believed it.
Something different. A place to learn debate. A place to learn different knowledge, hidden knowledge, occult knowledge.
Because you could be a Freemason and still believe that you're a black Hebrew Israelite, I guess, right?
Absolutely. Because the requirement for Freemason, you just got to believe in God.
There you go.
You believe in Satan if you want. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Say that again. The requirement for what?
For a Freemason, just to believe in God. You have to be. You can't be an atheist and be a Freemason. You have to be.
I didn't know that. I actually got invited to a lodge before, and I don't know if I was a pronounced atheist at that time, so I don't know. But I didn't know that.
And like it was a lot of things like you see Amos and Andy. Which is like a black. It started as blackface type of a TV show. Like it started on the radio, then it became a TV show and stuff. Amos and Andy, they were members of a lodge. It was called the Mystic Order of the something Lodge of the Sea, Under the Sea, or something like that.
Do they have anything to do with Famous Amos?
No. This is way before Famous Amos.
I think that was a black man on that too. So
yeah,
I got confused. Okay, never mind.
You like Flintstones?
People are gonna laugh at me about that later.
Yep, you would see TV shows where people are in lodges. Everybody in the TV shows in that era were part of a lodge. The Flintstones, they're part of what was it called? Buffalo Lodge or something. They used to wear those big buffalo hats.
That's right.
Go to the lodge meeting. You got what was the dude? The Honeymooners. The Honeymooners are members of lodges. It was another old show too, and the people were a member of a lodge. So that type of thing, it was something for working men, something like a release from work and home, a place that they could go and have fun and network together, help each other out, and things. And they had rituals, the things that, like you have a fraternity in a college, like you got an Alpha and Kappas and stuff. They have rituals. Not saying the ritual you worship the devil or something, whatever. It's just a ritual that binds them together and shows some type of, I guess you could say, unity or something that they, an idea that they can share together and under secrecy or whatever, something that makes them, that a group, a bond. Like you see people that in fraternities in college, they know members and stuff all across the world in the country. And you might be a Kappa and live in New York and go to California, and there might be a Kappa. You be in trouble, something happened, and you find out there's somebody that's a Kappa. That Kappa will come to your aid, just like you would have in Freemasonry, any other lodge or society or something like that. But there were things like you give dues. It's about money. So you got this guy that work and you get paid every week. Why not take that little $2? But back then, like, say probably $2 a week for to be a member. You pay your dues. Like you got little social clubs out here. You got to pay dues. And it might have a theme to the group. The group got a theme. Say like anything. It could be a motorcycle club, a car club. They got a certain theme to it. So at that time, people forget like what was going on at that time. And Black people weren't always like, you know what I'm saying, like the bottom and like the non-productive stuff.
Dependent on the government.
Right. And another thing too, that the American flag, that the police would leave the group alone. Like you could have some strange group. They talked about how Abba Bivens used to have American flag flying when he'd be teaching on the street. And what that would do was notify basically the police that they're for the country. So it was a deterrent where people wouldn't be told to get off the street, or they're trying to take over the government, or you know how like people thought of socialists and stuff. Oh, he's a communist. And there would be some type of problems. They would like wouldn't get hired at jobs and stuff like that. They said they would have that American flag. Noble Jew Ali did that too. Had that American flag.
Well, the similarities between, I guess, a Black nationalist or a Hebrew Israelite, well, yeah, any Black nationalist and a communist is that they hate the country that they're in. They want to change. They want to, or you know, they usually. I mean, there's not many countries, I guess. Well, there's still communism out there, but you know, yeah, I get what you're saying, but that's something that was being pushed though through Harlem. Also, the socialist clubs, the Black Panthers, you know, Angela Davis, Assata Shakur, you know, like that's big, bro. Like that's huge with the African American community. You know, outside of spiritualism, when they get into the politics, you know. Yeah. But yeah.
But I feel too like after the civil rights movement, when the whole Afrocentrism thing came about, I believe that, if not even more dangerous than the Hebrew Israelites. I know, like we both know what the Hebrew Israelites is capable of within destroying your family, might destroying somebody's life or whatever. I believe that Afrocentrism turned the newly Black community that was where the civil rights era, where the discrimination and stuff was stopped, and Black people are now allowed to work with, mingle and stuff with the Europeans or whatever, the white people in the country. Afrocentrism, they said that they said, the people that made it up said that it was used to give people, Black people, self-esteem. And I feel that the self-esteem that they tried to give Black people was built off of falsehood. just how the Hebrew Israelites gave us self-esteem. The Afrocentrism, now, the Hebrew Israelites wouldn't exist without the way that how they do it now, without Afrocentric type stuff, because a lot of their doctrine is backed by these Afrocentric scholars. Like when you talk about We Came Before Columbus by Ivan Van Sertima, saying that the Hebrew Israelites came here, saying that Africans or whatever came to the Americas before Columbus.
Right.
Now,
right.
He had absolutely no sources on that. He actually absolutely no evidence of that. When you write a book, you cite your sources and stuff where you got the information. If you're not the actual scientist that's doing the field work and stuff, so they use that to back up with the 10 tribes coming to the Americas and populating the Americas and stuff like that.
But I noticed Hebrew Israelites mix those two false beliefs. So they mix up two false beliefs. That's crazy that you mentioned that, because this is something that Hebrew Israelite that came on my channel. Well, I don't even know if he's a Hebrew Israelite anymore, but he pretty much believes that, you know, like with the Olmecs and everything, people say like these Olmecs have African features, but I look at these Olmec statues and I'm like, they look like Mexicans to me.
Yep, just exactly how they did with the Dark Ages, with the art in the Dark Ages.
What do you call the icons? That's the same thing they do. They do that with the Olmec heads. So that's crazy because that's something that's gets mixed up, right? So Hebrew Israelites say that, yeah, they were Africans here, and these are these tribes in this. But then it's like, but hold on, they don't look like Africans right now. You got Mexicans, you got people in the Amazon you got tribes in the Amazon that have not been like touched by civilization. Like they come around and they get sick and die because they haven't been around us. Their immune system hasn't evolved to how our immune system have evolved. So they die, you know, they're not vaccinated. They get polio and shit still, you know, which is eradicated pretty much for the most part in almost the whole world. I think some parts of Africa still have it, but that's because that lack of science. And that's another thing with Black Hebrew Israelites. They have no concept of how to validate something. They don't know how to tell if something is true. They go by whatever sounds good according to their already preconceived notions.
Same as the members. That's how they got the members in there, because the members thought the same way. Feel good.
That's crazy. How do you get Africans that come here before Columbus, and then you still say that, oh yeah, they're Israelites, and then also there were other Israelites that the 10 tribes look like everybody. It's like, yo, you're not making any sense at all.
And how they get here? Yeah, if they came by boat, okay, where's the boats? Not literally where's the boats, but what kind of boats were they using? People didn't even have boats.
Don't they say that the Black tribes are just 3 tribes? So how can the 10 tribes be Africans and be Black? You know, that's something that this one cat, I forget his damn name on it, but he I don't even know what the hell he believes, because he just takes everything. He had brought up, you know, they believe in the Willie Lynch papers. He had brought up, I forgot what it was that he brought up one time that I was like, oh, John Hanson. John Hanson's Black. He's the first president.
But you got a picture of him. If he was the first president, how do they have a picture of him?
They have a photo.
They were invented until like after the Civil War. So how do they have a picture of this dude?
Craziness.
Here's another one with the islands, the Haiti, Dominican Republic, and all this stuff, right? So if those people are part of the 10 tribes, say like the Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, they all know that the Arawak Indians populated those islands. Those are the people that are the Arawak Indians. So how is the Arawak Indian one type of people, 2, 3, 4 different tribes? You got Cuba too that they was on. So Africans was brought there. You know what I'm saying? And you say those were Judah, Levi, and Benjamin, or they say like Levi was in both. Like, you know what I'm saying? So,
and when they got to the island of Hispaniola, that was the first island that they came to, and they got it the worst. So there aren't even that many Arawak. There's not that much Arawak DNA left. Like even when I did my DNA, it was only 12%. And I noticed when I'm watching YouTube videos of people that reveal their DNA, their whatever, their status, what is it? I forgot what it's called, but they'll reveal it online. They'll do a video and they'll be like, I'm Dominican, and look, it says that I'm 15. I think the most I ever seen was like maybe 20% Indian, but like Puerto Ricans and Cubans, they'd be having more like 50%. But no, I mean, that's not typical. That's like maybe you'll find a few people here and there. And the more people that do their DNA, the more samples we're gonna have. But the more people that are doing it as time goes by, they're finding more in Puerto Rico, but not as much in Dominican Republic. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot of crazy stuff, man. It's a lot of...
Also with Reuben and Gad. Reuben is Gad. It's like, what are you saying? Reuben is Muskogee Indians and the Creek Indians, or let me not say that's Reuben. That's the Seminole Indians. Yeah. Seminole Indians are Muskogee Indians and Creek Indians. So that happened later on. Like they're all North American Indians. It wasn't like they were different tribes and Reuben came to Florida and they stayed there ever since. I mean, their whole concept from 700 BC. That whole thing is off anyway. So. Like, there's just no way of getting through these people because they don't know how to validate what's true, pretty much. It's like
how they said after the Assyrian Empire that the Apocrypha says that the 10 tribes went east. But we was taught in the school that they went west. So I'm like, wait a minute. So, and I don't know how they slipped that by me with me thinking that they went west. They said they went through the Mediterranean, out the Strait of Gibraltar.
Damn, Gorilla Hebrew. I had Gorilla Hebrew and the Sakari had me one time. And that dude was throwing all types of stuff that I'm like, I never even heard ICGJC say this before. With the he said that they went east and west. I'm like, what, man? Like, and then he mentioned the Good News translation of the Apocrypha. Because we always got KJV. Tazadakia, Tahar, they don't talk about, Good News, not that I know of. They don't talk about these other translations. They stick to the KJV. This cat tried to bring up the Good News translation says that they went east. And it's like, and then he started saying, and in Florida, those Native Americans said that they originally came from the east. Right. But hold on. If they came from the east, then they had to go west. And you're saying that in the Good News translation says that they went east. They got it all backwards, and it's like I didn't have it available to say no, that's not what it says. So it's like I'm trying to go back and do another debate with this cat because these cats are slick as hell, man. They'll pull out whatever the hell, and if you don't have something to like look it up right away, I'm gonna have my phone right next to me. I'm gonna be like, yo, what are you saying? I'm gonna look it up, and we're gonna really talk about this shit.
Yeah, and you got the how did they get here? Did they split the water like they did the Red Sea and walk across, or they built ships? Okay, so if they built ships,
no, they stole the ship.
A year and a half to get here. So how long you think it'll take for all those people to build some ships? And nobody had ocean-bearing ships then. Nobody has no ships that could cross the ocean.
Right.
And the Israelites already were using metallurgy. They're already making their metals, processing metals and stuff. Where science tell you that the Native Americans and stuff that was here, they didn't have no technology of making metals. They was when they had metals, it was like what do you call it? Like forging. Like they were beating the metal. They weren't actually burning the metal and making things and stuff. So once again, you see Israelites losing technology. So if it only took a year and a half to get here, so you telling me they lost all technology from a year and a half, got to the Americas, and they start using bones and rocks and stuff for tools. But when they over here in Assyria, they working with metals. So it's like it's ridiculous. Like the claims that they make is just ridiculous. And I can't believe how they put a lot of that stuff past me because I'm teaching other people. I'm researching this stuff, and stuff went over my head, and it just shows that I didn't really know what I was doing as far as research. Like I didn't really have.
I just looked at. I really started like. I mean, I got put out because like just like you were getting like, you had a lot of work, you were getting pushed to do a lot of stuff, and your time was just being consumed.
Yep.
And so I just started feeling like I don't even want to be here anymore. And but I still believed, and I was like, I don't know what to do with the doctrine at the time. It takes time. Yeah.
And that's what like mess a lot of us up too, because we leave, we see the wickedness going on, right. We leave, but keep the doctrine. You keep the doctrine.
And that's what happens. That's the majority of what happens. That's what happens to the majority of the believers. I think that excommunicate from one group, like the ICGJC was what I could speak on. That's what I'm most familiar with. So these former members, you know, they usually tend to stick with some type of Israelite doctrine, and they rarely say that they don't believe in the Bible anymore. There was one brother in Philly that I think he didn't believe in the Bible for a while. You might know him because you were talking about a dude with glasses, but I don't think it's the same dude.
Yeah, this guy's an older dude. He an old man now.
Okay. No. So I guess he didn't believe, and then I guess he came back to the Bible. So and then this brings me to this comment right here that I put it up. It was posted earlier, but I kind of want to address this, and I want to hear, you know, if you want to address it.
Yeah.
So you got anything to say on this comment right here? I kind of like
religious movement loses credibility. You then start to question the faith. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And where I went,
nothing wrong with that, I don't think.
Right. And like I wouldn't consider myself a Christian or a Jew or whatever. And a lot of the people that speak against it, because when you leave, you got other people that are trying to get you to do the same thing within the community. You got the Moorish Science Temple. You got the nation. You got all these things. Well, you know, they was going off.
Yo, they've been coming at me like crazy lately. I don't know what's happening lately. I don't know, but they've been coming at me like crazy lately. It's everywhere. Religion is everywhere. It's even embedded and ingrained in language, in the way that Hispanics especially speak. You know, the language is ingrained. Like when we greet each other, my family says, Dios te bendiga, God bless you. That's like hello. You know, there's so many things with religion, and just somebody trying to get you into the faith. But I don't see anything wrong with questioning faith, though. That's why I like the scientific method, is because it doesn't try to confirm an established or a preconceived belief. It doesn't try to confirm it. It questions it. It tries to debunk it. It tries to negate it. So what Hebrew Israelites and Christians do, it looks like you got kicked off, but what Hebrew Israelites and Christians and just believers tend to do is they come with their preconceived notions and look for ways to confirm that by looking at scriptures, and they say, okay, I believe that I'm an Israelite according to blah, 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 and here's other facts and other things in history that you can find that confirm my belief. And that's not how you go about determining if something is true or false, if your belief is true or false. So there's nothing wrong with that. I actually take this whole entire experience as a Hebrew Israelite, and I actually used it to my strength. And I went hard at researching logic, critical thinking, and I researched. I was gonna go to another Hebrew Israelite group. I was gonna visit it at least because I have family in the IUIC. And I was still considering that. After I was already done with the ICGJC, I still believed in the Hebrew Israelite doctrine. But these things take time. Not everybody has the time to be studying, 12, hours. I study. When I get into it, I go for hours. When I get into an audiobook, I go for hours. So, you have different ways that you can learn things, So, I'm just addressing, you back on, right? Can you hear me? I don't know if I can hear you. No.
All right. I hear you.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so I was just talking about that. That I like the comment, and I remember you mentioned science. Science came up a few times. Yeah, but you hear me, right? I think it's a little delay. I don't know if you could hear me. Yeah, I think there's a little delay or maybe volume issues. Let me try this. Let me try this real quick. All right. I'm sure you can hear me right now. I can't hear you. All right. So your mic. No. What is this? Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me, bro? Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But hopefully the brother will come back. I mean, we're almost hitting the 2-hour mark, which is about the time that I usually like to close it out, since it is Sunday night. I might go 2.5 hours, depending on the vibe. I kind of like the way this live is going, so I hope the brother could get back on here. Try to get back on if you can hear me. Oh, here we go. Okay. Let me see.
All right. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but I addressed the comment. So I mean, we mentioned science. Science always comes up, and I like science and the scientific method because, like I said, I wanted to, it questions your belief. It questions. Right. It doesn't try to reaffirm what you want to assume is true. It actually tries to debunk it. It tests it to, by falsifying it. And with religious beliefs, the problem is that you can't. It's designed for you to try to always confirm it because there's so many unfalsifiable claims that you can't test it. So you're forced to you can't question it. You can't do anything with it. So you're forced to just, go by faith. So I don't know, but with the faith is another thing I would ask. What does the faith mean? I got to get more clarity on that because faith means trust. I'm a person that has trust in different things. I trust, in things that are consistent. I think humans trust in consistency. So that's what faith means to me.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. All right. Can you hear me good?
Yes.
All right, cool. What I think a lot of people fail to actually realize is that these religions, it's mythology. Like I believe I come to the conclusion that it's just mythology. Is that these things were written by people to give you some type of advice or some type of leadership to live your life for that period. I don't think any of the people in the Bible and stuff actually walked the earth. I think they're just stories because you can see the same things. You could go all the way over here in Americas and you can almost see the same story. Can you hear me? Damn. Hello? You? Can you hear me? Damn. You?
You hear me? My bad, bro. I had to step real quick. I don't know what happened. Try to come back though.
Yeah, I don't know. My internet's bugging out. But okay. I was saying that it's like mythology. People are failing to realize that a lot of these religions and stuff, and a lot of other religions besides Christianity and stuff, actually know that their religion is mythology, and that they're just stories that make you a better person and to be able to navigate yourself through life. You know what I mean? So when people start, I come from the ancient Israelites and stuff, but you can't prove the ancient Israelites ever existed. There's absolutely no archaeology. There's nothing to prove that. And you see the same story on the other side, of the world. You'll see another religion or spiritual system somebody used for their culture. It's telling the same story. It's something to make you a good person, a better person, not to be piece of shit. So not to go out and take nothing from nobody.
But and that's what that whole woke movement is too. It's just people want to be intelligent, man. People want to feel like they know something.
You know, I see too, the Hebrew Israelites breed people to want to do the same thing that the cult's doing to them. Like a Hebrew Israelites wants to oppress people, like even a member. Like you said, they want to know something. They want to be smarter than the next person. And even before I became a Hebrew Israelite, I was reading all types of books, Dr. Dan books, all these types of Black Afrocentric books. And a lot of my friends that didn't care about any of that stuff, and I used to be giving them all the information and stuff, they would ask to borrow my books. They wasn't borrowing those books to read those books. They were borrowing those books to bring them to their house, put them in their room, have a girl come over, and they had the book open like they was reading it. So the girl could see it, and they look intelligent, and they never read the book, but what they're going to do is just repeat what I was telling them when they was over here at my house. To get the girl interested in like, know what I'm saying? So a lot of these things, people just they want to feel good, and they want to oppress people. They want to be over people and not actually tell people the good things that are in the book. Like there's a lot of bugged out stuff in the Bible, but a lot of that stuff some of the stuff is for that time period. You know what I mean? The things is written for that time. And I don't take it literal. Like the things with, like I was just into the Torah before I left the Hebrew Israelites. I was just Torah based. But now I look at Christianity, I'm like, this is all right, this is kind of cool. I understand it. Like, you know what I mean? And this, you should be a better person. Like point blank, period. Like I'm not, and I don't care to teach anybody else it. You know what I'm saying? I don't really care to push it or anything. I use what I can get out of it and move on. Oh, Rebel Alliance Media, what up, man? Yo, they one of the first people that opened up my eyes to a lot of this stuff. Like I was still in the cult, but on the slide, I was watching them. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you, but yeah, shout out to Rebel Alliance Media all day.
Yep. Yeah, man. Yo, like shout out to them for real. Like they definitely is.
Marksman.
Yep.
Forget it, bro. I had him on, last month. About a month ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit, but yeah, man, KOC, both of those guys. And even Adam Antium, that's Bun, I forget his name, Bun Lawyer. He was the one that recorded Tazadaki out in Baltimore and caught him slipping. He recorded the audio. I know you heard that on the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah.
The brother, I forgot this brother's name. There was a dude up in Philly that you probably seen him around. And he used to come on the Rebel Alliance media videos with shades on. He was like a tall, light-skinned brother, and he knew all these cats. He was like a 90s cat. Forget his name. But
I know what you're talking about. I remember.
Yeah. I had got in. Maybe Rebel Alliance could give me his name as he or something like that. But I had spoken to him too. He had hit me up.
The dude that I was talking about, they used to mimic that guy. Like, look, brother, the brother got a spirit out of him. The brother got a spirit out of him. That's the dude that I'm talking about. This brother used to like imitate him all the time, and I used to be cracking up. And I know that's who he was talking about because this dude, he used to look like Jimmy the Cricket. Like he used to wear his little glasses, kind of like the Malcolm X like kind of glasses and stuff. But I think that guy is an elder in AOC, I think now. You know that, or the group that that guy Hashar is in, I think he's an elder in that group now.
Oh, I don't think that's the same dude then. Or maybe he was in there. I don't know.
Yeah, but his real last name is Shepherd. I know that because I found him on Facebook.
Right. You're talking about Shepherd. Okay, my bad. Yeah. But shout out to Rebel Alliance, the Federation of Logic and Reason. Said Ram is KOC and Marksman Salakia Akim. No doubt. Yeah, my bad. But, it was definitely, my bad. I don't know.
Speaking of mimicking too, we used to, it's amazing how today I look at Hebrew Israelites and the way they speak to people, they take these terms and ways of talking and stuff from the people from the old school. There's a lot of things like, oh, you going off, you got cut. And I tell some of these young people, like, you saying these things, you're just copying, parroting what you heard. These things that are coming out your mouth isn't coming out of your own head. It's coming out of something that you learned from somebody. And I'm like, I know the people that actually made the things up that you're saying. So they kind of forget how far back I go and stuff. And I'm like, yo, these things that you're saying, this is not from your own mouth and from your own mind. Like, you really don't know anything about this group. I call them internet Israelites and stuff. They just watch a bunch of videos and now they're an expert on it. And I tell people, you don't know what the Hebrew Israelites are until you join. Watching videos is just the cheese on the track. They're gonna tell you all the cool things, the funny things, and stuff like that. But when we go in there, oh, you got a wife, brother. Your wife gonna have to join the congregation. If not, you're gonna have to get rid of her. Or, oh, they hate your mother, or they hate your kid and stuff because he half Edomite. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's where they take control of your life. That stuff on y'all watching on the internet, that's marketing. That's the stuff to get you in there. And when you make that phone call to that group, they're gonna set somebody on you. And that person is gonna call you every day. Brother, how you doing, brother? And start going over scriptures for you, answer your questions for you, start asking you personal information. And you go to class, and it's weird, and you're like, wow, this class subject is on this thing I was talking to this brother about. Yeah, because that dude that was over you went to the elders and told them about you, and now they're giving you a class to keep you locked in the group. So now you feel that God really sent you there, and how the elder know what I was going through. So they're gonna do a class on it, and you thinking God is answering all your questions and stuff. But really, this dude is going back and reporting about you, how much money you make, what type of job you got. You know what I mean? How beneficial this person, and we lock him in this group, how beneficial he gonna be to us.
Right.
Oh, is that tithes money? Brother, make $1,500 a week. That's a lot of money.
Oh, the Lord bless you with skills with graphic design, brother. You ain't gonna use it for the Lord?
Yep, exactly. That's exactly how it goes. That's exactly how it goes. That's exactly how it goes down.
Bro, I already know their spiel through and through. I got it all down packed, man. That's why I like to come on here, and if I catch these cats out in the streets, I'm gonna talk to them every time.
Yep.
No doubt about it. I would be out downtown chilling with some of my friends, and I would literally stop, and they'd be like, "Yo, come on, let's go, man. Why you always stopping? So don't talk to these people." Yep. And I'm like, "Yo, man, I have to, because these people really believe in this garbage. Like, I gotta talk to them about it. I gotta, because they don't have enough information, and then the information control, how they control." Hate the world. The world is evil. So how can you believe anything that the world says, especially the white man?
Yep. and you put them on a hot seat, they just fold up. Especially on the internet, they fold right up. They fold like I like on my show. I tell them, I said, hit that link. Let's talk about it.
Right.
That link.
I wasn't as aggressive as I should have been with Gorilla Hebrew and Deacon Akah. But it was really more of like, we just wanted to have a little discussion. It wasn't going to be, but, they started going into my history, and then they started grilling me pretty much. Yep. And, so I was like, all right, whatever, I got on here. I knew what was going to happen. But, that's the thing with them, is that it's so hard to even get to them, man.
Yep. It's so fake. I got some stuff I haven't even released on them. Yo, I'll turn that whole camp upside down. I'll be like, okay, explain this. Right. they be bad about it. Like, this damn
Right.
You know how I get down and stuff. Like, sometimes I gotta fight dirty and stuff. I have the receipts.
For sure. But yeah, man, I think it's might as well wind it down. Let me see what we got here. We got Mega Dardignan. Even though you're not gonna get paid by ICGJC, let me see, man. Even the leadership uses it to rule over the congregation. This was during Taz's reign. Yeah, Tazadakia was, you didn't really get to experience all of that, so he was really on another level, man. I gotta say it. It was definitely on some, like, this motherfucker has been trained by some group, or maybe he, got it in himself to learn something. But there was definitely some big changes that I got to experience it when the changes was already taking place. So I'm just running. I just ran with it. But people like Marksman, he was there before all of that. He was there before, the year 2000 and all of that. So, and all the way through Tazadaki coming and taking over as a comforter. So he was just like, this is complete bullshit. And I don't know how anybody that was there before in the 90s can still be there after Tazadaki is dead. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, man. But you got anything else? Did we go over everything? Let me just. I don't want to keep you up all night, but I think I had a little template I set up over here. Let me see if I got it. To make sure I covered all the little bullet points, because I wrote a few things down. Yeah, we went over, I think, everything there. I mean, we touched on, like, the Harlem Renaissance. I think that's very important, just to touch on that again with Marcus Garvey. And because I started reading about Booker T. Washington, and I want people to read about Booker T. Washington. Marcus Garvey was more on some, separatism, segregate, go back to Africa, don't deal with white people. And I think for whatever reason, that's what became more popular in Harlem. It wasn't really Booker T. Washington is not spoken about like that. W.E.B. Du Bois, I forget his name.
Right.
He's another really good intellectual. That W.E.B. Du Bois. Yeah, he was more on some. We don't need to to hate white people and all this. We don't need to do all of that. We could still make money, and they were on some more independent, but
right.
And not so much segregating and dividing, which is what Hebrew Israelites do. They check you at the door. You can't come in there if you're not invited by somebody that knows that, he's not an Edomite,
Right.
But there are some Hebrew Israelites from One West that I guess are letting white people in now. Edomites.
You know what's L2? Because since they're a nonprofit, they can't discriminate. They're under the laws of the government not to discriminate. So
right.
I suggest white people go try to join the ISUPK and ICGC. I challenge them to go join and stuff. And when they don't let them in the group, sue them for discrimination and get them up out of here.
right. Yeah. What was it that you was talking about with the cantors? Remember that?
Say that again.
We mentioned cantors with the singing.
The Jewish, the black cantors.
Yes.
Around the time for the Commandment Keepers, where the black people, the white Jews, was teaching.
You mentioned this when we spoke before the live, just so everybody knows. My bad.
Yeah. We were talking about the Black Panthers, and the Black Panthers were black Jewish people that sung like Jewish literature, like I guess sung things out of the Torah and stuff. And this was a long time ago. And
let me spell that really quick, because it kind of sounds like something else. A cantor is like the Spanish word cantar, like singing. It literally means to sing. So it's spelled with the first letter C for cat. A-N-T-O-R-S. Cantor. So these go ahead.
They followed all the your normal Jewish customs with the Yiddish speaking and all the things that you see in a real Jewish synagogue. That's what they was following. But as time went on, and where they wanted to I guess be rabbis and And even probably after all that, when Rabbi Matthews made his own rabbinical school and started, like, you know what I'm saying, making their own rabbis and stuff. A lot of people don't know that even the white Jews was funding the Commandment Keepers. They were giving them money. They were actually supporting them in what they were doing. And as time go by, the hate stuff started coming in, and they turned against them and turned into a hate group. And that's plain and simple. That's what they are. They're a hate group. And
it wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
At least not like that. But yeah. What was that?
And like, yeah, like they practice Judaism how the white people practice Judaism.
Right.
It wasn't that they didn't have their own thing going on. You know what I'm saying? They were practicing just like the white people. And they were practicing Kabbalah. You could go to the blackjews.org right now, who are the descendants of Rabbi Matthews and stuff, and you will see where they give Kabbalah classes.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there
was a dude you said that died recently that knew Abba Bivens.
Yeah. Yep. I can't think of his name. I got him on my video and stuff. I got a clip of him.
We didn't cover that on the live. We spoke about that earlier, right?
Yeah, we covered it and stuff. I just can't think of the dude's name. Right. He just recently died like last year or so.
Yeah. He was up on YouTube talking about Abba Bivens. There's a lot of information about Abba Bivens that's not given to the ICGJC doesn't know about this, especially the ones coming in now in 2020. Yep. Forget it. They're not gonna know anything about the history.
We forgot to speak out. I spoke on it a little bit with Rabbi Matthews dealing with the 7th and 8th, the 6th and 7th book of Moses. That book on the spells from the Psalm. And there's a library in New York City that actually have the writings, the personal paperwork from Rabbi Matthews. They have it in there, and they have a letter or like some paperwork that he was writing where he was drawing sigils. He was drawing magical sigils.
Wow.
And the niggas was telling the congregation and stuff, yo, I could disappear. Like, so they had convinced the members that they had some type of divine power from God. But what they was into occult knowledge. So they was reading all the occult books of that day.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So these people was doing spells and rituals on people. Homeboy from SOT. I know.
Sons of Thunder. That's Sons of Thunder, right? Sons of Thunder from One West.
Yeah, right. Yeah. They always joke and stuff. They was cool with Killah priests and stuff like that back in the day. Because just real quick, I heard about the Sons of Thunder from Rashwan, who's a West Indian brother, man, he left the cult, and he was a teacher out here in Orlando. Yeah. So he spoke about how they used to go out in the streets and Times Square and light Times Square on fire. That's how he described it, at least. But yeah, that's SOT. Yep. I remember those same words people saying and stuff. Yep. And I think he was one of the first to actually speak against the cult, even before Rebel Alliance, I think.
I give that dude mad props, man. I'd be on his comment section like, yo, shout out to you, bro.
But he dropped the story a few years ago, right?
Right.
That he said he found Aria's wallet.
Yes.
The phone booth. And he opened up the wallet to see whose it was, and there was a bunch of magic sigils in his wallet. So were they telling the congregation not stay away from witchcraft is wicked and all this stuff, they doing it themselves.
Right. Yeah. What's the brother's name in the SOT, man? I forget his name.
Wayne. I know his name is Wayne. There's two of them, but the one that we always see, his name is Wayne. I got him on my Facebook. I want to get him on my
Is it somebody? Is it? I never see the dude's face, right? You never
see his face.
But he speaks really slow.
Yeah, right. And he jokes a lot and stuff like that.
He's cool. I give that dude nothing but respect. You know, even though we don't agree, he's still, you got to give him his respect for being one of the first to do that.
Yeah, because I remember he was speaking. This is an old video. This is like when YouTube first came out and stuff. He had Killah priests with him. They were on the street. They had their own little camp set up. And you know how he do his videos? He got the big piece of paper and he draw all the stuff on there. Like he talking about like on the chart. And he had a table out there and he was talking about how wicked the ISUPK was and stuff. And he was talking about why he left, and that Christ, and like he believed in the virgin birth. So that was his main thing. But he left the cult, but he still kept a lot of the teachings. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I still think he's a cool brother and stuff like, you know what I'm saying? But,
he's a peaceful guy. He tries to get along with the majority of people, but he also likes to get at these leaders. He's not scared to come at these leaders that want to claim to be speaking to God and want to lead a congregation and take their money and destroy families and all that crap. So you know, I shout out that dude.
You what do you think about what they did to Ben Lawyer?
Is that from the Lions of Israel?
Yeah, for the Saints of Thunder or whatever.
Well, I don't know.
That he was no joke. Like he was the baddest Israelite in history ever.
I think I definitely heard, but what? Tell me the story.
He had a heart condition and he died, right? And
but
this was
he was on the Lions of Israel. He was the one that was coming up against Tazadakia, talking about how Apollyon was. I forget, man. I don't know if it's the same guy, but I know that he died and he used to be kind of cool, I guess, with Tahar. They were like friendly, but he wasn't really, I guess, down with any group. Maybe.
He was like a lone wolf. He had like a little crew and stuff. There were Saints of Thunder or Sons of Thunder, one of the two.
No, I think you're talking about Lions of Israel, man. I don't know. But go ahead.
You know, the Lions of Israel, they know him. I think they learned from him. They learned Daniel and them learned from him too. Okay. Like eventually, whatever before he started his own. But he's the one that used to talk about how the school sold out and took money from the Rosicrucians or whatever. But this dude had some kind of heart condition and died, right? And nobody had no money to bury this man.
Come on, man. Are you serious?
IUIC was bragging about them putting up most of the money to get him a burial. Wow. And his members, the dude, who's the guys that are in New Jersey, the Hispanic dudes, they super cool, yo. I haven't seen them do no videos in a minute.
I don't know.
They started up, they learned from GMS, they ex-GMS members.
I know who you're talking about. He used to come on with sunglasses also. He was a Puerto Rican dude. He used to wear like a red do-rag or some shit.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Health videos and all types of stuff. And they had an older dude, an older Hispanic dude that joined them, and he was from Ben Lawyer's camp. Okay. And he came over to them, and he became like kind of like the elder, like or whatever. Yeah. I can't think of the name of the dudes, but I was talking
about because the Antichrist unit, you know, the ICGJC's YouTube pretty much channel that was created to go up against all these groups. They were doing videos and speaking against different people. And I think that one dude, they spoke about him, and then they made fun of Bon Lawyer for teaching that Apollyon was this one Russian a ruler from I forgot, from Prussia, that he was a king of Prussia, and that's supposed to be the king of the bottomless pit, you know, because I guess they don't believe in hell or some shit. You know, there's something like that, because ICGJC believes in a hell that you burn in, and they believe that Apollyon, which is Abaddon, is an angel that's supposed to be over hell, because, you know, Satan is on the earth. So who's in hell? There's an angel named Apollyon in the Greek, Abaddon in the Hebrew, and it means the destroyer. That means destroyer. And this is supposed to be, according to Tazadakia, because the scriptures tells you, the scriptures describe it as a destroyer, but Tazadakia used to say is a big black angel with muscles, and he punches you in the face when you come to jail. That's the induction. That's the introduction to jail, to hell. To hell. It's like, yeah, you get punched in the mouth, you know, because the scripture says that a fool's mouth calleth for strokes or something like that.
Yeah.
So, so I don't know. All of a sudden they come up with, okay, so when you go to hell, you get punched in the mouth by Apollyon, a big black angel with muscles that works out.
That's crazy.
He literally said that on the DVD. He said he works out.
Yeah. But Ben Lawyer, yeah. What I found, and I played that video a couple times on my channel. They showed a funeral. The funeral was like no other funeral I've ever seen in my life. Like there was a couple of brothers that was close to him there, and it looked like they buried him at a construction site. Like they was getting rid of Jimmy Hoffa. That's what it looked like. Damn. He had like the cheapest like coffin. It looked like a jail coffin. You know, like if somebody get executed or somebody die in jail, they don't got no family. They put them in that cheap like little gray coffin. Like it was like that, right? And the backhoe that dug the hole was still there. Like the backhoe was digging the hole while they having their little thing and giving they like goodbyes to him. And they put him in the hole. It wasn't even like they didn't even put him in the hole straight. Like they had his coffin like cockeyed in the hole, like literally. And he's covering up with dirt. There was no other graves near him or nothing. It just looked like they buried him like in a parking lot, like a construction site. And I tell people, for all y'all that give all y'all energy and love and everything to these groups, this is how you going in the ground.
Man,
just like that.
There's so many stories of funerals that, you know, there's always a problem. There's always disrespect. They never want to conduct a funeral. They won't, then they got to get paid, of course. Like, you know, forget it. The amount that they charge, and you know, with Tazadakia and Shar and Arya, they'll get their nice little garments. You got to pay for the garments now. You got to pay for their black garments. They probably charge $1,000, $2,000 for each garment. Probably like $4,000 for the service. There's so many stories of funerals, and you know, they have the money. These cats that you're talking about, they didn't look like they had anything really going for them. The one Puerto Rican dude in Jersey used to film inside of his apartment. You know, it was a little inside of a small ass, like a New York City bedroom. And these are one of these bedrooms that's like a studio. I used to live in these joints, living in New York City. Yo, this cat had like, you know, like a 8x10, I don't even know, like a jail cell type of thing. And then even in Bon Lawyer, his last days, he was definitely doing videos on a channel, a YouTube channel called Lions of Israel, and they had a purple background, and he was sitting down talking with brothers beside him, and they looked like they were sitting in an apartment also. They didn't have a building. They weren't established like a ICGJC. They were just brothers that were
low. That's how they low key and get that money. Right. You know, all those dudes like the rape doctrine and all that stuff, how they got on Tahar about, they all believe that. But what they did, Tahar was the first one on YouTube. And Tahar, they saw all the members Tahar was getting all across the United States and the world. So they wanted in on that money. So what they had to do is come up with that rape doctrine. You know what I'm saying? To talk about the whole rape thing, because they all know the breakdown. All of them learned that in the school back in the day, all of them. And they used that to get Tahar out of the way. So the people would leave him, or the people wanting to learn will join with them. They say, oh, you want to join them GMS dudes and stuff? They talking about raping 12-year-olds? And a common person like, no, I don't want to be associated with that. So they're going to go start learning from the other group. And so all that stuff they was going at Tahar, they were just getting Tahar away. And Tahar was, I believe Tahar was really teaching what that school really taught. And all the other ones, and how they would say, oh, those brothers are rebels. All those other dudes were all people that left the cult and either said, I'm going to start my own group because I didn't believe in this doctrine that they teach. I didn't believe in that doctrine, and I believe the scripture is really saying this. Or they left and said this whole thing is fake and it's a con game. So I'm gonna start getting these people the same way they are. But Tahar, he was raw and uncut with the things that he taught, and he used to teach about when you die. Say you don't need no funeral. He said, what you need a funeral for? You're not in that body. They said, when you die, your spirit is gone. So your body is just like a piece of hamburger meat. You can just throw you in the dumpster. So brothers wouldn't go to funerals. Say like somebody's family member died and stuff. They wouldn't go to the funeral. They said, he ain't in there. His spirit gone. What I gotta go there for? He not in there.
I understand what he's saying. Some of these cats sound like they turn atheists and then they want to start a cult and trick some of these cats. That's why I don't trust nobody that leaves a group and then wants to come out and be like, no, I have the truth now. Like what? How does that happen?
Al-Azhar with Sakari. He got arrested for selling dope. And Tahar wouldn't let him back in.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, Sakari, Al-Azhar from Sakari, got arrested for being a heroin dealer. He was a gangbanger. He was selling heroin. And he left. He went to jail and he got put out of the camp. So when he wanted to come back in, Tahar wouldn't let him back in. So what he did was start his own group. He started his own group. But I'm like, this dude only learned on the internet. So like Tahar's members and stuff, they make videos constantly. Like, you know what I mean?
But he don't keep up with them like I see.
He don't keep up with them. They send that ties money.
Right.
That money order. And you know what's funny? The address to send the ties money is still here in Connecticut. The P.O. box is still here in Connecticut from when there was the House of David here in Connecticut. Because before they were GMS, they were called the House of David. And because during I forgot to say this too. During when 9/11 happened, they arrested the members of House of David for so like a terrorism type of charge, like something that had to do with terrorism or something. And they was locked up. And Tahar told the story that they got a Jewish lady lawyer, and got them released. And they basically had to leave town. So they said we knock the dust off our feet. You know how the scriptures say knock the dust off your feet, and said we left this wicked place because Connecticut is just a bunch of wicked niggas. Because after the 2000 prophecy failed, all the brothers, the whole camp, all the members in Connecticut, they quit. Like all of them. There was like maybe 5 people that actually stayed with them out of all the members that they had. And they left, and that when they went back to New York, that's when they changed their name to GMS, Great Millstone. But before that, they were called the House of David here in Connecticut. But they got put out. Like they was giving high fives. They was celebrating 9/11. Like when it happened. Just like
Muslims.
Yep. Crazy. Yep. And they put them out. They had to get the hell out of here. Yep. It's crazy stuff, man. People don't like realize it. Like these people kill you. And like they bugged out.
They ruined so many lives, man. People were like destroying their credit and doing all types of crazy stuff before 2000 because if Jesus Christ is gonna come and destroy America, what does it matter?
Did you see the video I did on Martin Luther King's mother?
No.
Martin Luther King's mother was assassinated by the Hebrew Israelite.
No, I didn't. What? Martin Luther King's mother?
Yep. His name was Sutton Chestnut. His last name was Chestnut. He was a young kid that just came home from Vietnam and started learning from a dude from Illinois. This man that was teaching, he called it the truth. Now, it's funny how we call it the truth. And that's what they said. And he would exchange letters with him, and the guy would teach him that civil rights leaders were bad people, that they was against the Most High. And the Most High you're not supposed to integrate with people. So they taught that the same thing I learned when I joined. that Martin Luther King, the first week I'm a Hebrew Israelite, I learned that the Martin Luther King was wicked and the Most High hates Martin Luther King. And they use that scripture saying that the man, you hear a dreamer dreams, saying, I have dreamed. Right.
Yeah. They say that's
the same thing.
Yeah.
And this happened in 70. Wait, this happened like a year or two after Martin Luther King's assassination. He went in.
Her death happened in 1974. So
yep.
4 or 5 years, I think. No, more than that. When was MLK assassinated? What was that year? 67?
67.
Or 69? I'm thinking about JFK. Damn, I forgot. But
yeah, 68 maybe or something.
Yeah, I mean, I could look it up right here.
But he went in the church. The church, the Ebenezer Baptist Church or whatever.
Ebenezer Baptist Church, yeah. Her name is Alberta Williams King.
Yep. He went in there with 2 handguns and tried to kill Martin Luther King's father, but the gun jammed. Wow. And he took the other gun and shot Martin Luther King's mother while she was playing the organ.
This guy's name, because I was trying to look up his name first and I couldn't find it, but his name is actually Marcus Wayne. This is the Hebrew Israelite. Marcus Wayne Chenault.
Yep, Chenault.
Yep. 23-year-old man from Ohio who adopted the theology of the Black Hebrew Israelites. This is on Wikipedia, which take it for what it is, but Wikipedia it's not that bad.
Nope.
Hebrew Israelites be hating on Wikipedia. I'm like, all right, you got to double check it. But yeah,
the dude that taught him, the FBI interviewed him. He said, I didn't tell him to go kill nobody. But the dude admitted, said, we hate civil rights leader Martin Luther King, all that. But a few years later, there was another family in Illinois. A lady, she was divorced twice, had like 4 kids. She met this man that had a wife that was a Hebrew Israelite that was taught by the same man that taught Marcus. They was learning from them. And she learned from this guy that took her in as a second wife, along with her children. And that was in the spring when she met this man, like April or something. And by July, her youngest son was dead because they believed in a Sabbath that you're not supposed to eat, I guess, on the Sabbath or something like that. And the little boy was like 6 years old, I believe. And he went and ate a whole loaf of bread and 32 slices of cheese. And they beat that little boy to death. Blood was coming out of his, they said blood was coming out of his penis, his nose, and his ears. And the whole family had to beat him. The stepfather beat him. Then the mother had to beat him. The other wife had to beat him. And then all the kids that lived in the house had to beat him. And they said they took the boy, and you know how you beat a little kid holding their arm and they running around in a circle while you beat him? And he was running him into the wall. The boy had brain damage and all types of stuff. And then the guy that taught the dude that killed Martin Luther King's mother shows up, right? And he convinced them to take him to the hospital. Like they were trying to cover it up. But it's the ideology that got that boy killed. Like the man that taught them the cult stuff, he can't be charged because he didn't tell them that, right? But the teachings suggest it. And that's just how when you see these Hebrew Israelites killing their wives, killing people on the street, and all this stuff, the cult never gets the blame. But what it is that the cult suggests it. Like you hear, brother, we're not supposed to carry out this thing now, start killing the Edomites. He said, but Tahar used to say this all the time. Well, you never know, brother. The Most High might put a spirit on a brother to set this thing off. So now you could be somebody that think that you with the Most High and you get this idea that this woman is wicked and you mad. So now you want to carry out the laws of the Bible by killing her. And that's when you find these people going to jail with a smile on their face, with no regrets, because they feel why they did it is righteous with God.
Right.
The hell with the laws of the United States. They follow God's laws.
Yeah, some of them. I mean, there's, and then when I was reading that one, I mean, this is just the brother that committed suicide that was in the ICGJC.
Yeah.
When I did the video and I read some of the comments that was in that article that was done on Religion Unplugged, you can tell who's an Israelite by how they just disregard the fact that this guy is in a hate group and just like, oh, he did that on his own. We don't promote that. And it's like, okay, I understand. I'm not going to take that, what that dude did, away from him, because yeah, that's ultimately your choice. And, you gotta, but still you have to share the blame onto the cult, because they are also responsible for creating the environment. And the worst thing that religion does, that I always say, is that it puts your hopes up and then it destroys it.
Yep.
That's the worst thing that you can do to a human being.
Yep.
And that's why I said right here, just to touch back on this, and I'll let you definitely speak. I just, this brother said that some people allegedly committed suicide when the year 2000 prophecy fit. That's crazy. I never even thought about that. Like, I'm thinking about people messing up their credit. How many people had high hopes and really deep down really believed this? And I don't know, man. They probably were fasting for, who knows, man. People, they were real dedicated believers, man.
I stopped going to college. When the two days teaching me, talking about Yahweh, what you going to college for? Most high about to come back. Yahweh.
They all do that. They all do that. That's crazy.
And then know what happened?
Shit anyway. They got so many ways, bro. But yeah, they pretty much make it seem like, this doesn't matter anyways. Nothing matters except this right here, this cult. You man worshiping, man. And I'm David, and this is the reincarnation of this. Yeah.
I didn't really believe it, that Yahweh Shai coming back in 2000. But what had me believe it is all the other stuff that I learned. I'm like, well, these brothers seem like they pretty much on point on all this other stuff. So maybe Yahweh Shai is coming back. And House of David had their website, and they used to have a countdown, like the ticker thing with the time counting back. Okay. And I remember I'm in my house with a sword.
Oh my God.
I'm in my house with a sword, looking at the thing, counting down. And you know how a little kid, when Santa Claus coming, he looking out in the sky at night, see if he sees Santa Claus and stuff. Right. I'm looking outside.
Oh my God. I could imagine probably like on, you ever seen the movie Independence Day? They go up to the roof. And they're like, we're here, take us up. They got signs and everything. They were probably barbecuing on the rooftops in New York City.
Yeah.
Forget it. Meditating, praying. They were probably literally on the roof praying.
Yep.
I could imagine.
I'm waiting to hear the trumpets.
Right. That's what I would have been doing. I'm putting myself in that situation. Yep. Even though I wasn't there, I thought about it so many times. Like, what the hell? Yep.
And don't see the Chinese lanterns. Like the Chinese people, they have these things that they like little hot air balloon type things that they launch up in the sky. It's like got a candle in it, and the thing floats in the sky. But people think they're UFOs sometimes. I actually thought there was one time I seen them. And I seen Israelite videos when the Chinese lanterns are in the sky, and Tahar telling the people, see, those are chariots of the Most High. Those are chariots of the Most High. And all the members out there, Kum Yashala, Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai Rakatah, Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai Rakatah, and looking for them to come. Looking for the UFOs to save them.
Crazy.
Yup, crazy.
Somebody said that's why me and my brother left these groups. They love bomb you when you're new. Then over time they become abusive.
Yep, wow. Absolutely.
Oh my God. I was thinking about that earlier, that I mentioned that. I think about that every time I talk about how they they kind of prey. It's like a predator. They kind of prey on people because they know this person don't know anything about the Bible. You know, I'm going to get them with this scripture. Oh, Romans chapter 9 said God hated Esau. I'm going to ask them, does God love everybody? And set them up. And just somebody's going to feel like, damn, I thought God loved everybody. What the hell is this scripture doing here? Because they don't pull those scriptures in the Christian church. That's another thing that I got against the Christian church. I know we were talking about how, the Christianity, we were talking about it earlier. It does some good. And I was talking about this with a cousin of mine, how it can, you can do good as a Christian, but there's other things that come along with that's really deceptive. And it could introduce you. It could be a gateway to these cults.
Yeah.
Like that's what I've been trying to push out there to these, Christians that I still, I'm kind of cool. I had a discussion with a brother named K-Dub, who's another Christian that I didn't mention, who speaks against all this Hebrew Israelite garbage. And he goes into the BLM stuff too, and the politics, which I kind of like too, because that shit is that element of ignorance is all over, like just these groups, man, these social groups that want to just be inclusive or exclusive, non-inclusive to everybody else, and you just deal with just your own kind. Yeah,
it makes me wonder too about some of the people that go against Hebrew Israelites. What's their agenda behind it? Is it really they're just trying to teach people that this is a fake or this is a cult or somebody that wants to harm you and abuse you, or they're just trying to lead people out of that to get them under them? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these Christian churches too, they might not be as severe as a Hebrew Israelite church, but they do some of the same things. They might not, if you don't go to church on Sunday, they might not call you up and call you wicked.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they'll let you float around and get the money when they can. Or, you know what I'm saying? If, okay, you have a question, you saying they might call you wicked because you had a question that they can't answer about Jesus Christ.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So some of the people, I think they have some sincere thing behind them trying to help these people learn about the book or whatever. But some of these people too, I think just want to entrap people too. And just want to,
I think like they just go with it. Like this cat right here, Junebug, was saying. He said, I wasn't fooled by the love, and you don't stay new forever. But my common sense was so high that I just came to class because I had nothing better to do, honestly. I love that. He's just being honest.
Yeah.
And I look at that sometimes and I'm like, man, you know what? I mean, yeah, there was an element of that, I guess, at first, but it was really mostly like, it's just something about this that is just different. And I was never taught this ever, but having a family member that was in there that I lived with, it was just, I just went along with it. I didn't think it was bad at all. Yeah. And if you don't have somebody that understands the doctrine, and many people don't, they're just gonna go along with it. The best thing my cousin, like I was saying earlier, hit me with his best. He hit me with that story that you mentioned where they locked everybody in. And, I had to come back for everything, though, because I don't know what it is, man. I can't even explain it. What is going to make somebody leave? I got family that's still in there. There's people that's still in that cult that had given their daughters over to Tazadaki when they were like 15 and 16. And they're still in there right now. They're still in there right now. I'm sure Tazadaki probably told them all types of things that are supposedly going to happen in the future. That's but you know what they do, though? What I heard recently, I forgot who told me this, man. They said that, it's my cousin, I think, said this. Yeah, it was my cousin. Wow, bro. I had a conversation with my cousin that blew my mind. This is a dude that's a brother to the sister that's in the cult. So what they believe is that Tazadaki is going to resurrect from the dead. And that they're going to go back to Israel, and that the end of the world is coming when Tazadaki resurrects from the dead. then Jesus Christ is going to make a second coming, and it's supposed to be some fulfillment of Jesus Christ resurrecting. Well, a lot of different people resurrected from the dead, but I don't know where that teaching came from, but this is what they just have to keep going. They have to keep it going. So how is the end result going to still be fulfilled? Well, they got to resurrect from the dead. Yo, they're going to be waiting forever.
Wow,
that's crazy. But yeah, that was my cousin's brother told me that, and I'm like, yo, you don't think that's a cause for concern right there? That children are her children told, like that's their uncle. And these kids are telling their uncle, yeah, the world is gonna end soon. What?
I feel bad.
Yeah. My cousin told me about that, and he kind of snickered and laughed. And I was like, yo, that's kind of serious, bro. That's kind of serious.
They go to school saying that and all types of stuff.
Yeah, but if you're so ignorant, you're not educated on how these cults and religions trick you, then you're just gonna be like, well, whatever. Jesus Christ is gonna come back according to the Bible, anyways. It's like, yo, you fucking idiot, man.
And a lot of the members are families with no education.
Well, and then some families encourage, like they kind of just excuse it in a way. They don't come to conflict. They don't bother to, put themselves in an uncomfortable situation where they're gonna question the belief because it might destroy their relationship or something.
Right.
So they try to play it like they're walking on eggshells because it's like they're dealing with somebody that's like mentally retarded, pretty much.
Yeah. Yup. And they let it slide. This is how we have today with people who have mental illness and the family don't get it addressed until they go out and do something crazy, kill somebody or something.
Right. Yep. I think he's still got to press and push. That's what I do, man. I don't like that. Oh, well, whatever. You believe what you want to believe. You have the right to believe it, and you do have the right. Because when people tell me, well, I have the right to believe whatever I want to believe, stop criticizing my belief. But I'm like, but as you have the right to believe what you want to believe, I have the right to criticize your belief. Yep. What's wrong with that? Like people think that's taboo. Like, oh, dude, why are you criticizing my belief? You're attacking my belief, they say. It's like, no, I'm criticizing your dumb beliefs. What's wrong with that? You should be challenging your beliefs too. But yeah, they kind of excuse it. Christians can't do much with Hebrew Israelites, man. They got to kind of go with what they say because they're saying Jesus Christ is going to come back soon. That's the same thing Christians believe. That it's the doomsday belief, pretty much. Causes a lot of urgency and anxiety and all that shit. Like, that's craziness, bro.
Yeah, it is, man. It's
crazy. I would come into class just to get away from the homies in the hood and toxic family members. Yeah, so that's another thing. It's an avenue and a way to get away from the street. I guess that's a good thing that kept it. Well, we were still in the street. We were doing something different.
Yeah.
On the megaphones and all that. But I guess that's one way you could look at it. One thing I used to say is that, or I've been saying recently, is that it taught me to get away from the fear of public speaking.
Yeah.
Doing the street speaking and all of that. I got away from that, and I was able to, I don't know. I'm a more social person now than I guess I used to be growing up as a teenager. I was more reserved and shy. When I first came in the cult, I was like, I wasn't really somebody that was out there trying to speak about, trying to debate. I wasn't doing that. It was just now when I start realizing how, religion could do this. You have to debate. You have to give a rebuttal and question things. If you just agree with stuff, I guess it all depends on the situation. But,
too, a lot of this stuff isn't out of us yet. Like, you think you left the cult, but a lot of the mannerisms and stuff, like, we still have them. Like, I find myself, like, talking to somebody. I might be arguing with somebody. And I use Hebrew Israelite techniques to win arguments and conversations and stuff.
Right.
The same way I did when I was a Hebrew Israelite. And sometimes I have to keep myself.
That's what I'm thinking. Some of these cats might have learned from Freemasons, man. The way they go into certain scriptures. Freemasons, sometimes, I don't know. It depends, I guess, how skilled they are with the scriptures. But sometimes I'll be thinking, they come at the Bible like they're an atheist, really. You know, like from a certain angle, it doesn't even sound like they believe in the scriptures or in a God, because which God do you believe in? The God that says you got to love your enemies, or the God that says you slay your enemies before me? It's like certain things
of it is that, like, you could be any religion, and religion is not supposed to be discussed in the lodge. So what they say, I'm not a Mason, so I don't know what they do in it. Like, you know what I mean? I have members that are, and they like the new ones, but there's a lot of Masonic lodges that aren't real Masonic lodges. They call them clandestine lodges. They're like lodges that just been made up by somebody, and they call it a Masonic lodge. And they actually have no history, like going back to, because like a real Masonic lodge can trace their history all the way back to the first lodge. Like, they have paperwork. Like, you could join a Masonic lodge in Connecticut and get kicked out, and you might go to Africa somewhere and join the same lodge, and they're gonna be like, nah, you got put out over here in Connecticut. Nah, you can't come up here. Like, you know what I mean? They have all those records. So a lot of lodges and stuff that's not official. Like, they just have the name, but they have no roots. It's almost like a gang. It's somebody of blood in California, and there might be a blood gang in Massachusetts, but they have no affiliation with the real organization. It was just somebody came out there and say, oh, I'm going to start a blood gang. They call themselves Bloods. They might have the handshake or whatever, but the deep stuff that they know and that identifies themselves, they don't have. So a real blood will be able to pick out the fake blood. And the Masonry is like the same thing. Like, my pops, he'll say it. He'll be like, how you know what if somebody claimed to be a Mason, how you know what they saying is true? Because you're not a Mason. Right. I was like, well, damn. He said, you're not in there, so you don't know what he's telling you that is true. Or is it true or not? You don't know.
It's not a belief system with Freemasonry, is it?
Yeah. It's not a belief system, I don't think. But like my father, like, I didn't understand it at first, but now I realize it. He's like, yo, you don't know nothing. Right. He said, you're not a Mason. You want to know, you join. He said, when you join, then you'll know. He said, other than that, you can figure out stuff. You can read all the books you want. You can watch all the videos and TV, whatever you want to do, but you still won't know anything, because a real Mason is not going to tell. They're not going to tell none of the secrets that are in there. So like when people say, oh, they worship the devil and stuff. Alice, what's that dude? The dude Albert Pike said that Freemasonry worship Lucifer. I know a guy, he broke that down to me. He said, Albert Pike wasn't an authority on all of Freemasonry. He said that book is his views, what he got out of the craft, and it doesn't represent the body of Freemason. So if that's what he want to do, that's him. But it doesn't reveal anything about the organization. It just his walk in it. They said everybody's walk in there is individual. It teaches you to be a great man. I'm not one, so I'm just telling what I've heard from Freemasons. Right. And they said that, like, what Albert Pike was, he was the head of his jurisdiction. So those degrees that he revised, those were revised for that jurisdiction and not the whole body of Freemason. So that whole thing about Lucifer and all that stuff, that stuff is false. They say with any book a Freemason might write, Manly P. Hall or whatever, that's his walk. That's what he gathers for himself. It doesn't represent the whole body. But I find it very fascinating. Like, I have wanted to join, I just never got around to it and stuff like that. But from what I see, some people that I know, like I said, family members, they carry themselves a lot different. They don't carry themselves like Hebrew Israelites. That's for sure. Like they carry themselves in a certain manner that's
Right.
that people would associate, like, you know what I mean, want to associate with.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. One of my best friends from Chicago, man. Out here in Florida, there's a lot of people from Chicago out here in Florida. I met him like, man, 15 years ago? I've known him for a long time now, and he's a Freemason, and he's one of the coolest dudes I've ever met. I go and chill with him on a constant basis, and they carry themselves completely on a whole nother level. I get what you're saying when you say that, Yeah, bro. Damn, yo, we could go all night, man. I'm gonna have to get you back. That's all that's telling me.
Appreciate it. Really, thank you for having me on.
Oh, of course, man. Yeah, this was great. Yeah, we got to do this again. We'll keep in touch, man. I appreciate you taking all your time. This has been exactly 3 hours right now. So yeah, it's 12:18 a.m. It is April 19th now. My birthday's coming up soon, so it's April. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna go live next Sunday because I'm gonna be doing things with the family. It's my birthday weekend and all that. But I'll probably go live in the next 2 weeks. If anybody wants to come back and check San Miguel TV. Also, if anybody wants to check Killah B the Witchfinder General on YouTube, this is his name, just like you see it right here. You type that in, you can see a whole heap of videos going back years, detailing so many different topics from Hebrew Israelites to you name it, police shootings, current events. There's so many things that this brother goes over that, like I said, this is a very unique channel that it's something that I would definitely promote. I appreciate you, but that's all I'm trying to say. So thank you.
Me too, man. You want supporters and stuff back when I was making videos. Yeah.
I appreciate you, man. This has been amazing. I hope that everybody that's on enjoyed this. I didn't want to do no question or nothing like that. I mean, we speak on the comment section. Anybody could join it. Like I said, I'll be back in 2 weeks from today. I'm going to possibly go live. I don't even know what I'm going to do yet, but I'll be back in about 2 weeks. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. This has been a broadcast of San Miguel TV. Thank you to Killah B, the Witchfinder General. Everybody have a great night. Peace.
All right. Take care, man. Thanks.
Yes, sir.